Hello and welcome to the New York State High School Rowing Championships here in Saratoga Springs, New York. Happy day 2. We're here at the finish line, Hannah Painter and
Kate Horvat. I'm new announcer here and excited to get the show on the road.
Yeah, we're 2 Orion athletes here. We train on this body of water every day. We know it like the back of our hand. And we know rowing like the back of our hand as well. So we'll be calling the races today and giving you the inside scoops and an insight into what these athletes are going through here, not only the lay of the land, the positioning of the crews in the race, but also maybe what's going on between the ears as well.
One would argue that's the most important part.
Right? It's you versus you out there. Sometimes that's the biggest competition you can ask for. But we'll start the day off with our first final. We have the B final, or petite final, for the girls' varsity quad going off just about now, 12 o'clock on the dot. We have a 5-boat race from this morning's time trial. Mohawk Homeschool B, Row New York B, Oyster Bay Community Rowing A, Shaker Rowing A, and Brighton Rowing Club A. So 5 boats across. That's going to be one of the shorter.
It will on this 10-lane race course. That will be one of the smaller races that we've had today. But again, could be just as, if not more, interesting. So we'll see.
And the quad is a great boat class here for these junior athletes. The quad is, for those new to rowing, if you're looking at this notation wondering what are these secret codes we're using, they are a bit hard to learn at first, but we'll walk you through it. This is the girls' varsity quad, so 4 athletes. The X indicates sculling, so each athlete has 2 oars, one in each hand, and no Coxed in here. So if we look for the plus or a minus here in our notation, that'll indicate whether or not there's a coxswain in the event, so these athletes are self-sufficient. They have no one with a microphone, no one with the steering. It's all them. Sometimes the athletes will have that rudder, so some athletes having to pressure steer, calling for port pressure, starboard pressure, in addition to the 1,500-meter sprint that they're also occupied with.
The quad is also a fun boat just because it's the fastest of all the sculling boats. So when you're in it, it's some real speed, and there can be a lot going on. It's 8 oars, 4 people. One of those people is also making calls. So it can be a busy boat, it can be a really fun boat, and it can be a very fast boat.
So looking at times here from this morning, Mohawk Homeschool B over here on the left side of our screens, closest to the finish line, timing shed on shore, went 6 minutes flat this morning. So 12 seconds off of that A final speed, but 5 seconds ahead of the next finishing time trial from Row New York B's entry. So not that the time trial tells us everything. Some boats are better side by side. Some boats strategize the time trial versus the later on heats, especially racing twice in one day. We'll see athletes maybe surprising us, maybe coming back from a lower seed. Check out this battle here ongoing between lanes 8 and 7. Nice racing here between Row New York and Mohawk Homeschool, 2 blue squads. There's some psychological studies about the power of the color red versus the color blue. It seems like blue is prevailing today. It's a nice shot of Oyster Bay Community Rowing. Really nice matching there from those 4 athletes. And then we've got a battle here at the back of the pack. So that's going to be lane 4 of Brighton actually overcoming their seed here, doing a little bit better than Shaker through that middle 500. And we're already through to the last 500. It's gone in the blink of an eye here, our first final of the day. This is the girls' varsity quad petite final.
Yeah, that tailwind is definitely helping out too. Just giving you that little push down the course. So I think we'll be seeing some fast times this afternoon.
But watch out, Row New York had such a strong middle of the race here, and they're just relishing in that lead here in the last 500. They look in control and
powering through.
Super clean here. Again, it's a bit of a tailwind. We have some head current on Fish Creek, and so sometimes the tailwind, while it is helpful to push you down the course, it may make the water a little bit bumpier, a little bit wavier. These are athletes from Row New York making it look easy. And that's Mohawk Homeschool B. just trailing in second place, just about a seat
Looks
of
like
open
they're making
water.
a bit of a push here.
How do you make a push, Kate? How does one do
How
that?
does one make a push? Well, you know, towards the end of the race, you can pretty much either add more power or take up the rate, and do both. So towards the end here, it seems that Mohawk is trying to just add a little more oomph to the foot stretchers here, add a little more push with the legs, a little more send.
You can see even this Row New York B boat trying to cut a little bit of the layback. They're sitting up a little bit more than they were before. And that kind of allows them to keep the rate up and also isolates the power to the legs, the most powerful muscles we've got. There's Row New York on our screens taking their last 2 strokes.
Coming to the line.
Congratulations, Row New York B. Oh, it's super tough to watch these races without a coxswain because at least we know their pain. You're not only worried about pushing as hard as you can and rowing as well as you can, but you're also trying to unify as a boat, and sometimes that means speaking while you're sprinting.
Yep, I mean, when that cox is in the boat, they can ask
right, their only job is to speak.
They're like kind of a mini coach, right, in the boat. So you have someone who's basically the brain of the boat and can help unify you, give calls to, you know, set the boat doing one thing, you know, okay, let's all do faster hands away, for example. And so when you're rowing, to have to think about that and then say it to the rest of the crew, that can be a lot to ask for whoever's making those calls.
And so it looks like we had Oyster Bay coming in 3rd in this petite final, followed by Brighton, and that was Shaker across the line for 5th place. Again, really nice racing, both in the morning time trial and just now in the B final. We will go back up to the start. We've got pretty tight centers here for New York State Championship 2023. Each race is scheduled to run 8 minutes apart. And so some of these athletes taking just about 6 to 7 minutes. And so we don't have a lot of time because here we have already our first 500 down. We went off early here for the girls' Varsity Quad A finals. This is grand final. There are Youth Nats qualification spots on the line. There are bids to Scholastic Nationals on the line for our high school only crews. So not our club teams, but our Scholastic teams. There's a lot on the line here for the girls' Varsity
and I gotta say,
Quad.
it is a tight race so far. You've got, I think I'd say 6 boats, all within striking distance of each other, and no one's pulled away yet, it seems.
Yeah, and we have some powerhouse programs as well. In lane 8, closest to us on shore here at the finish line, Oak Neck Rowing Academy A, Port Jefferson A, Oak Neck B, Row America Rye A, Albany Rowing Center A, Mohawk Homeschool A, Oak Neck Rowing Academy C, Row New York A, and Niskayuna A. So the lanes are seated from left to right here on your screens at home or on the Jumbotron over there in Lee's Park. So the crews on the left had the fastest times of the morning, especially Oak Neck Rowing is Academy A with a blazing 5:12 this morning. And so while it's tight here in the first half of the race, we'll see if Oak Neck is able to find that top end speed that they had this morning, as they posted a time that was 18 seconds faster than the next crew from Port Jefferson.
But I gotta say that those next, 6 crews, this could be a very interesting race. You had a 5:31, 5:33, 5:33, 5:35, and
you know
5:37, 5:38. I mean, it could be anyone. For
I'm
second
counting
or third.
the boats on my screen, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There should be 9 boats in this race, and since Oak Neck A's entry was 18 seconds ahead, there's a good chance they're not on our screen right now. Because you're right.
That could possibly
everyone else
true.
is super tightly
Maybe
packed.
they've even just
We're gonna
rode
take a look
out of the frame.
outside of our drone. We're here at the finish line, and these crews are approaching the last 250. I see Oak Neck here. They are, in fact, lengths ahead. They're sneaky. They got so far ahead. Let's see. Can we see? Oh, yeah, there they are, lane 8 on the left side of our screen here from the finish line camera. That's pretty cool. Maybe that was their plan. They were like, Mom, we're going to be so far ahead. Happy Mother's Day. You won't be able to see us. That's my gift to you. But you're right. It's a battle. Pretty much 8 lanes across for the next spots here.
I mean, Oak Neck is just taking it. They are.
This is a prime event for them.
solid lengths above everybody else. So good race to them.
A few of these athletes were in the small boats yesterday with similarly competitive performances. They're showing off here the last 5 strokes, punching their ticket.
And wow, look at that battle for second and third.
Looks like Port Jefferson, Romer Karai, Oakneck B. Can Oakneck B take second place over all these A boats? I think they can.
See if they made it.
Then Port Jefferson will take third, followed by Lane 5, Romer Karai.
Wow, what a
Lane
race.
4, Albany. Lane 3, Mohawk Homeschool. Lane 2, Oakneck C. And here comes Niskayuna and Row, New York to finish off a blazing A final, the first grand of the day.
That was quick.
Apologies if you thought you were watching Oakneck Rowing Academy A there.
They were just beautiful drone shots.
They were
just too fast. I gotta say though, as a rower, those are definitely the races that that you hope for. Not it's the one. Those are the ones that hurt, but are always
just
the ones
pure
that are most
domination,
exciting, right? Well, I mean, also for those crews in the middle pack though. I mean, that
true.
finish that was
That's
so
exhilarating
tight,
as well,
right? So that's those are the races that you definitely train for, to be able to hold that 1 seat, that 2 seats above the other crews as you come to the line. And those are also tricky too, because when you're giving it all you got, and especially with conditions like these, it can be a bit of a tricky tail. Like, it can be easy to catch a crab. It can be easy to just make a little error, especially, that last 250 when you were just hauling on it.
Great view of our start line here as we go back up with our drone footage. We've got 9 boats across here for our girls junior U17 quad grand final. So these athletes all had a time trial this morning. Niskayuna A had the fastest time trial of the morning with 5:36. Then we had Shen with 5:38. So pretty tight 2 times there. They'll be duking it out for that first and second place, followed by Brighton Rowing Club, who was there in lane 6 on the left side, 5:47. And then 2 entries from Oakneck Rowing Academy. They went pretty close, A and B, 5:50 and 5:55. And then to finish out this 9-boat field, Burnt Hills, City Island, Albany, and Manhasset High School. Whew.
It's funny, before I came to Saratoga, I had never been on a course where you could do more than 6, maybe 7 lanes
it's
across.
unusual.
Yeah, this is special. And how great for these crews, though, because a 10-lane course means that, you have that many more opportunities to punch your ticket or to get into the A final, which is very exciting.
True. So we do have a little bit of a cross situation going on. So we see some of these boats tapping. So they're not trying to get a head start. Don't be concerned about the fairness here at Fish Creek.
There's someone holding on to those boats.
We have stake boat holder volunteers, almost all Saratoga juniors. So shout out to our Saratoga junior volunteers for showing up and helping us out here. This whole regatta, much like most regattas, would not be possible without its volunteers. So shout out to them. We have the aligner there on the left side of your screen, who's got a mark on shore to align the crews. So important for these athletes to make sure that they're getting a straight point down the course for the crew to align. Obviously, if you're at a diagonal, you might be level, but for one, you're about to careen into another crew. That's not safe. And 2, you might actually be down because your diagonal may look even to the aligner, but you're actually not at your full length.
Yep, so you'll see the bow seat or the 2 seat. Usually the bow seat just kind of taking taps to make sure they're straight and aligned.
If you're taking notes at home, you're an aspiring younger sibling to one of these athletes looking to row. Pro tip, when you're tapping it at the start line, make sure you're taking strokes as close to the hull of the boat as possible, so you're moving the boat side to side, not forward backward.
Yeah, so that just means getting up there right at the top of the stroke.
Yeah.
So it can be a little uncomfortable. And sometimes actually in bigger boats, what you'll do is you'll pass your oar up to the person in front of you, so they'll take taps to get even closer to the hull.
Yes. Other than that, we've got a lot of nerves up there at the start line. This is the girls' junior U17 quad grand final. There are I'll have to fact check myself on events offered at Youth Nats and Scholastic Nationals, but this is the culmination of these young women's season. So
Yeah.
regardless of what the postseason holds after state championships, this is what a lot of crews work for, maybe all spring and maybe even all year.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the program.
All 4 years if we have
All
seniors.
4
Well,
years,
maybe
yeah.
not in the junior U17 category, but a lot of work goes into these athletes' seasons and can feel like a lot of pressure at the start line to show it all off.
Pressure, but I hope also fun, right? You're doing this 'cause you like it and you do it for hopefully the joy of the sport. So
Here we go. We got to start. Again, this is the...
Oh, and it looks like someone wasn't fully aligned. We have
gosh.
lane. What lane
gosh.
is that?
Oh, gosh. I'm stressed.
Oh, no. We might
Kate.
have a collision. We might have a collision
Kate,
if they
help
can't
me.
right themselves.
So that's going to be our entry in lane 3.
Oh, and they pushed the
Burnt
other
Hills.
crew over a bit. Let's see.
Burnt
Okay,
Hills.
it seems like they've
correcting.
righted all of themselves.
Hopefully staying away from those buoys. You
so
can
it looks
see
like
the
we're all
buoys.
going straight again.
These buoys do dot the entire 1500 race course, all 9 lanes across. They are still having some steering issues here, Kate.
I wonder if that is an equipment issue or...
and sometimes these boats have big rudders. Like you'll have different rudders that crews will use for head racing versus sprint racing. Because head racing, you want to make big turns as quickly as possible. So they're a little bit more...
bigger.
sensitive because it's a bigger rudder, and sometimes you only have that one rudder, so it's good for the fall, and it's a little bit more dicey here in the spring season. And as we said earlier for the previous quad race, these athletes are totally self-sufficient. There's no Coxed in there with the steering wheel. The athletes, if they do have toe steering, it's connected to the shoe of one of the athletes, and that
Usually
shoe just pivots on a
bow
swivel.
seat
Usually
in
bow
high
seat.
school racing, but we don't know if they could just be doing power steering. They could have a toe.
Right. So while we're going full throttle, we're also concerned with
Are we going straight?
the angle of my foot.
Yes, yes.
Do you have that awareness? And let's see, who do we have currently leading in the just about halfway point in this race? Niskayuna had the fastest time of the morning. They're holding that seed here with a current first place. And then it's tight. We've got a pack of 4 clumped all together. Slight advantage to 2 lanes over from Niski, Oak Neck. And then maybe half a seat down, Shen. And then Brighton and Oak Neck B are just about level here. Maybe slight advantage to our friends from Brighton.
This is still an exciting race, though. I mean, those 4 from lane 7 to lane, what is that, 3, 4?
4.
They're all overlap. So, it'll be interesting to see how the next, where are we at, 1,000 meters, 750 plays out.
And the drone does make it look a little bit closer than it might actually feel to these athletes. So we'll put ourselves in their shoes for a second. So if you are 1 seat up on the field, your bow seat, that person who has the 1 seat advantage, actually can feel open water. Or the deck of the boat is not a person, so it feels a lot more open. And that can almost feel calming and confidence boosting because you've almost risen above the fray. So you just want to pass that feeling to the next person and the next person.
And
So being 4 seats up, each of the athletes in this Niskayuna boat can feel more relaxed, maybe can feel like they can take a breath. They're not as tense or frantic.
Well, and it
in
looks
that
like they're taking
position.
advantage of it. I mean, the clean strokes, it look like they're all going in together. Very unified boat we're seeing here with the Niski boat.
Meanwhile, we'll put ourselves in that Brighton boat shoes. They're sitting about 3-4 seats down here, tucked in between Shen and Oak Neck. And that might feel a little bit stressful here. So these athletes trying to stay cool, calm, and collected, finding that internal motivation sometimes when you're down. It's helpful to trust your teammates, kind of gel and vibe together instead of focusing on the external. And that'll help the athletes kind of tune out the noise and enjoy this tailwind a little bit as we come into the last 500. So again,
Yes.
your leader still Niskayuna.
And so this will be interesting. I know that in some boats, at least I've been in, you can do some calls in terms of passing down the bow ball. So like Hannah mentioned, where if your bow seat is up ahead, they kind of feel that free, clear space. One thing that I'm sure that some of these athletes are thinking about is just passing down the opposing team's bow ball, right? So inch by inch, clawing their way ahead.
So as we shift to our finish line camera, don't be alarmed at these positions as they look much different from overhead. We might have some movement as different crews start their sprints different times. Different fitness levels kind of start to show themselves in the last third of the race, but Oak Neck A definitely ahead of Oak Neck B here. As to the positioning on Shen, Brighton, and Niskayuna, we'll give you the call as we see it here at the finish line. Niskayuna seems to be holding their advantage.
It can be hard to tell with that angle, though, but I think you're right, Hannah.
I think Shen trying to see if they can catch up to them, but they might run out of room here. They've only got about 10 strokes left.
Wow, this was a much tighter race for first than I think we originally thought, looking at it at the 1,000.
And it was, don't forget, we had Shen with a close time here as well. They were only separated by 2 seconds in the time trial, and I feel like
takes it.
They might have matched that margin here in the final. Oak Neck overcoming their seed, getting third, followed by Brighton and Oak Neck B. Really nice racing there for those top positions.
And then we still have a race going on here at the second half of the pack. These 4 crews coming down.
Oh, it's a tight race here between City Island in the pink, and I think that's another Oak Neck. Oh, let's see. City Island there in the pink.
Is that Burnt Hills?
Burnt Hills, you're right.
And Burnt Hills.
Yeah, Burnt Hills just able to hold off City Island's charge. And watch out there from Manhasset overcoming Albany there. The orange battling side by side. Here's a result from the previous race, the girls' varsity quad grand final. As we saw, Oak Neck Rowing Academy A took it in one of the more, I would say, convincing margins
yes.
so far of the day. Even of all the racing yesterday. We missed them on our drone footage, but they did, in fact, win by 17 seconds.
And I have to say, with conditions like these that are just a little bit faster with the tail, that is even more impressive, as usually the tail will kind of shorten finish times between people.
Right.
It's just the race is kind of condensed as it gets faster.
And really tight racing there. You can see places 2nd through 5th all separated only by about 4 seconds. So a lot of contact and overlap between those crews. And we're going to switch back up for the next race, only now we'll have a lot more between the ears commentary because we have the boys varsity singles. This will be the B final. We had so many singles this morning. This will be for spots 10 through 18 here at the state championships. We've got 9 boats across: Oak Neck D, Burnt Hills, Shaker B, Oak Neck C, Long Island, Niskayuna, Brighton, Long Island C, and Pittsford B. They're all there. Oh, it looks like we're missing a crew in lane 5.
Which Oak Neck?
Oak Neck C.
Or is that, oh, because it's.
We've got no intel for you. But great overhead shot here. So the athletes all getting aligned.
Yeah, you can really see them tapping it here with this nice shot.
You can see how long the single is. How long is the single, Kate? 15 feet? 20 feet?
That sounds about right.
I think it's 21 feet long.
Well, it also depends on how big the boat class is.
It's true.
For these boys, I think
roughly
around 20?
2 to 3 people's length.
Yeah.
Like if you lay out yourself and then 2 friends. No, maybe that's too long. I'm Googling it.
Oh, and here they go.
So what are they doing?
Maybe there was a scratch.
How
I'm not sure.
How do you go from a standstill to peak speed? What's the approach?
This is definitely a tricky part of the race, right? Because it's getting up to speed quickly and doing it without becoming unsteady or flipping. That is a skill in and of itself. So generally what rowers will do is with the start, you'll take a couple of shorter strokes to begin
Singles are 27 feet long. Thank you,
with.
coach.
27,
My
that's longer than I
coach
thought.
texting me the information. That put me on blast. That's okay. But it seems we've got some different strengths here in this field. Time trial, you often do not have a start. You build through the line.
You build into it, so there's no need for kind of this this quick burst of power in the first 30 seconds or so.
And there are a couple advantages to the explosive start that you see in rowing. Often we'll see most sprint or racing sports start with a explosive start.
Yep.
But especially in rowing, because of the psychological reality that we face backwards, there's a real advantage to
there is.
being
Being able to see your competitors and see if they are making a push or they're falling back is huge.
And
it just gives you that sense of control.
Right, and it takes a really well-experienced or maybe just, blind confidence to be able to not have that advantage and still perform at your best. Oftentimes it's the most experienced crews or the crews with incredible fitness that are able to start down and work their way back through the pack.
Yep, and doing that is really a trust of your own fitness to be able to hold your speed and push through.
Right, and push out the self-doubt. Get that
Yep.
out of here. Especially in the single when you've got no one else to talk to.
The
self-doubts are coming in.
This is a mind game, right? So the single in particular is a race that is, I think, more so than other boats, won or lost between the airs.
But your early leader is seeded to win this B final. Oak Neck D over here on the left side of our screen, followed closely by Burnt Hills. And then 2 lanes over, Long Island. Rowing is doing pretty well here. And then neck and neck, we have Shaker and Niskayuna for 4th place. Looks like maybe a good push from Shaker here, just about half a seat advantage. But in the single, that's nothing. So we try to avoid comparing margins the same way across boat classes just because the boat speeds are so different. So in the single, being a length down is really not a lot of margin.
It's really not that big.
It can feel like a lot when you're that single sculler.
It is. But, in a matter of, 5 to 10 strokes, you can pass.
It could be 2 power 10s in a row.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're level.
Yeah.
You know?
Level or ahead, depending on what happens with the other crew.
So here's a nice shot of Oak Neck versus Burnt Hills. That's the D entry from Oak Neck. Really a nice hips first here. You can see really nice kind of biomechanic stroke.
Sitting pretty upright. Really relying on that lower body.
But watch out for Burnt Hills. They have really nice follow through around that release.
Yep.
The blade is really accelerating through the back end of the stroke, allowing the athlete to kind of take advantage of the surge from the legs all the way through the release. Oh, poor bow 3, Niskayuna, looking over all those lanes for their next competitor. Again, when you're side by side with a crew, you get that peripheral vision advantage. You can feel the person. You don't actually have to look.
Yep.
Versus when you're in lane 3 chasing down lane 8.
It can be.
You're looking over 50 feet across, trying to get a sense of that external motivation. Here's a nice drone shot. And in fact, Burnt Hills is on the move. We saw they really started to take it up here in that middle 500. And here they are coming into the last 500 meters here.
Wow, so it looks like, Burnt Hills definitely made that push that we were talking about in the single. Anything can happen.
So Oak Neck D really trying to respond, but seeming like Burnt Hills has found a little bit of rage. I don't know what emotion they're tapping into, but
maybe it's joy.
Maybe
joy of the sport,
Maybe it's just thinking about the legs. Maybe it's just counting. Sometimes athletes, when
breath is always a good one.
Exactly, when they're racing, they just come to that simple cue that maybe gives them the emotional advantage, the cognitive advantage of just pushing and not giving up. Right? Like sometimes counting to 5 to 10 over and over again, so you stay in that present moment and you don't think about how hard this is.
In that sense, I think that sometimes rowing can be a very meditative sport, right? You're doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
And as they come to the line, we see, wow, Burnt Hills is really putting on
Showing
a
off.
sprint here. They are just
Maybe even trying
pushing.
to show that they should be in the A final
bumping the
here.
rate up here.
Well rode here from Burnt Hills for this
And look
B
at him
final.
go. I mean, and honestly, in the single, to have that lead and still push like that, my hat is off to them. Oh, and it is close between this Oakneck and Niski boat.
Here's our crew from lane 6. That's Shaker B. Lane 2 is going to be Brighton A.
And I think that's Pittsford about to come to the line here.
I think you're right. All right, and we will finish this boys varsity B final in the single. Here at the finish line, a couple crews still finishing from Long Island Rowing C, and I think that's Long Island Rowing A.
Wow, and we already, I mean,
But we're already on. We got a tight schedule to hold.
So we were already on the A final.
So we have another 9-boat race here. We had some really fast times this morning. The 1 seed over here on the left side of your screen, Oakneck B, posted a 5:32, followed by Oakneck A 5:34, and a tightly followed Liverpool High School of 5:35. So the top 3 spots in this race should be hotly contested. Again, we have a really strong start from our next crew from Fordham Prep, who just finished about 6 seconds back on the field with a 5:41, tied basically by Port Jefferson's A entry with 5:41.9 as well. And then we've got another pack of 550, 551, 552, 552 for those lanes 0 through 3. So it should be a really exciting race here in this boys varsity single grand final.
Yeah, and it looks like here no one's fully broken away yet. Everyone still has contact with someone, which you would expect in the first 500.
All right, so let's see what's happening here. We've got first 500 down, Oakneck B and Oakneck A here on the left side of your screen. And watch out, everybody, for Cascadilla over here on the right side of your screen. They're currently sitting in 3rd after being seated.
They look just like they turned on the Jets here.
They had a secret up their sleeve potentially, or just have a really strong first half of the race. Just passing that 500-meter buoy,
And
so we're in the middle.
Some crews will do that, right? Like that's what we talked about the strategy. So for the time trial, it can be one where you not take it easy, but maybe not lay out your full race plan for that first time trial to be able to save yourself a little bit of energy for this afternoon race. So.
And we're all high school students. We're all learning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We're coming into every
Maybe they found
race
a bit of speed in
opportunity
that last 500
said,
in the
hey,
time
coach,
trial.
that time trial was amazing. That's the best I've ever rode in my whole life. I'm so excited to do that again. And here's Cascadilla in our screens, just ahead of lane 0, Pittsford. That Pittsford sculler may be able to hear or feel the wake of that Cascadilla rower, but again, facing backwards, hard to see. We had some really tight finishes in the time trial. Again, hard to compare those two, as some athletes are better at time trials, some are better at the side-by-side racing. But it's Oakneck's day here for first and second place. Oakneck B's entry here on the right, rowing super long.
And it's also interesting between these two Oakneck rowers, different styles coming from the same program.
The single is a great boat class to kind of get that individual focus and see what can I think about or what can I do to make the boat go as fast as possible. Might be different for each athlete, as different athletes have different strengths, different mobility, different preferences here, but it is still going to be a fight for 3rd. We've got a little bit of a push coming out of Liverpool High School.
I wouldn't count out Cascadia. I think that, like we said, the single can surprise you. So
yeah, Cascadilla sculler really pushing, but kudos to that athlete because it's about 6 lanes across to see the next closest athlete, Liverpool High School and Cascadilla from Ithaca, New York, pushing one another here through the last 500. We're in the home stretch, folks. It's time to lay it all out there because you're running out of room, and that race for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th everyone's got contact on another boat here. And
Man,
especially in the single.
Those two oak neck scullers are just battling it out. You know, this is interesting because they probably do this every day at practice together.
And you know that A sculler versus the B sculler, coach probably lighting a fire under both of them.
Yep.
The target on A's back, B's like, excuse me, I'd like to be the A
little
entry.
underdog mentality, yeah.
Just see how that kind of mind game can play out. But Liverpool High School has an amazing last 500 here. They've lengthened almost a full length and a half of advantage here in this last half of the race. Looks like Cascadillo is running out a little bit of steam as these other crews are charging.
Had a pretty strong start here, but yeah, it doesn't look like they're able to hold it.
Looks like we have trailing Fordham Prep, and then battling we've got Port Jefferson, Oakneck E, Shaker, Cascadilla now firmly third, all really duking it out here. Just Fordham Prep outside of that overlapped mix, but all strong performances here in this grand final. Liverpool High School opening it up.
As we come to the line, I'm just watching these two Oakneck scullers. No one is giving an inch.
Oakneck B looking over to the finish line. Where is that buoy line?
Could B beat A. Let's see.
They're duking it out.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I can't call it. I don't know.
They looked over at each other like, sheesh. Kudos to you. Liverpool High School here taking in the third place position, hauling on it with a nice charge from lane 3 Oakneck E. And Port Jefferson also. Oh,
whoa!
What a surge!
On the surge.
That was sick.
So that's also something that you see in these types of races that can be surprising. Is you can be even or down, but depending on how the boat surges when you cross that line.
Right, and the boat does surge in between each strokes, and so you'll see accelerations on the drive that you won't necessarily see as powerfully on the recovery. And so oftentimes it's the athlete whose blades are currently in the water or who's at the mid-drive of your stroke. And that's the person that's surging stronger in the moment.
And so in a lot of races, you'll see sometimes athletes just take their rate up right as they get to the line if it's that close, just to get more, surges, quote unquote, to try
higher probability.
That your bow is the one that surges at just the right moment.
It's hard to time it perfectly with the finish line. So coming up next, awesome racing from our boys varsity singles. Here are the times from the B final or the petite final. We had a really tight finish there between second and third, and probably even tighter finish there in that grand final. Was super competitive, really awesome racing.
Yeah, that grand final, the all 8 across, was very close.
If you're looking for results here, you can go to streamlinerowing.com/regattas and look for the New York State Championships, and then toggle down to results. We have the boys varsity pair final currently underway. Canisius High School, Row America Rye, Oakneck, Saratoga, Manhasset High School, Canisius High School, Fordham Prep, and Long Island Rowing. All in one race. So 8 boats across here for the boys varsity pair. Kate, tell me about the pair. What is it? 2 minus?
Well, Hannah, the
minus
pair.
What?
Minus a coxswain yet again. So it's just you and your partner, 1 oar each. And the pair is a special boat in my heart. It is, I think, one of the greatest tests of balance, maybe even more so than the single because you don't have full control. So it's you and this other person.
The smallest boat you got.
Yep, and it's just you and this other person trying to balance this little hull, trying to match each other to a T, and match each other while you're applying pressure, full pressure, as well as similar pressure.
And
so
the timing of it all.
Canisius
doing
there's
it
a lot
super
of finesse that goes into these pairs.
We're not even 500 meters in, and Canisius already has open water here on this field. Lane 7, 6, and 4 are going to be Row America Rye, Oakneck, and Manhasset. But they have contact with Canisius B and Saratoga. It's early on in this race, too, so these athletes shifting to their base pace at this stage in the race. So tapping into that different energy system from the explosive start sequences that they have. It's only the 1500, so it's not quite as grueling as the 2K. That third 500, maybe not quite as noticeable, but you do kind of risk it for the biscuit and go a little bit more explosive at either end.
Yep, definitely. And it's interesting as you watch these crews, looking at the different styles, you can definitely see in the pair how important it is to match up, and so making sure the legs get down at the same time, the bodies are swinging together. And you can see kind of the style more so within each pair.
Oftentimes it'll go faster when you're doing the same thing. It doesn't necessarily need to be the best thing. It doesn't
or the quote-unquote right thing, but as long as you're doing it together,
you'll go pretty quick. So here's Canisius on our screens here. A little cheeky USA undershirt from the stroke seat, repping the United States in some capacity. Rumor has it, at least that's what the rumor he wants us to spread is. And we've got a tight race here going on for second, third, and fourth between Row America Rye, Oak Neck, and watch out from a charging Manhasset here. They're moving super well here. They've got the advantage of maybe some peace and serenity over there as they've got open water on Saratoga
just
and
some
Canisius
space
B.
to think together.
Space to operate.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. I would also say the pair is similar in the single in the sense that anything can happen.
True.
Maybe not quite as much as a single, but still it's you can be down a length and up a length in the span of 20, 30 seconds. So
and the steering is challenging as well, so anything can happen in terms of the power differential or the timing differential as we fatigue. So making sure that the start and finish of our racing here in the pair, we're focused on going together. Because if the blades are coming in at different times or leaving the water at different times, it can really impact the steering. And some of these athletes might have a toe. Some of them might just be working on pressure. So I see a little bit of steering issue here from Manhasset as they're going over that buoy line, trying to make sure they don't snag a buoy and get stuck. And it looks like we have Row America Rye and Oak Neck here with a little bit of a strong surge in the last 500. Not enough to catch up to Canisius, who's just been extending their lead a little by little. Saratoga sitting about astern on Canisius B. We're in those red buoys here. The
and
signal.
you'll see the crews start to try and take it up a bit as they sprint towards the finish.
Making sure as we empty the tank, we do it together.
Together, yeah. This boat is definitely one where you got to get that mind meld going. You are not two people, you are one.
And again, still duking it out behind Canisius, who will take first, barring disaster. We have Row America Rye and Oak Neck here duking it out. It looks like slight advantage to Row America Rye, but to be honest, we have a similar situation as that boys' single grand final. Whoever's blades are in the water.
Strong finish here from Canisius.
Manhasset just a little bit out sprinted
and
here,
this will be
so they'll
close.
finish in fourth.
And I think Row America Rye got it.
It's one of those races where you finish and you're not quite sure, so you just look over in awe of your competitor, say thank you for doing that next to me, pushing me to that next level. Canisius B and Saratoga take the next 2 spots. And then coming down the chute, we have Long Island Rowing and Fordham. So here comes lane 2 Fordham Prep. Worth hyping up these athletes as they mostly also raced yesterday.
Yep.
Had a long day yesterday. The conditions this morning were a little bit better, still pretty choppy tail. And thankfully it's not quite as hot today. Yesterday was a bit grueling on the athletes.
Oh, yep. I can't
Getting out there in
imagine.
the
I mean,
sun.
especially at this early in the season, to kind of have a hot day like that out of nowhere can really throw you for a loop.
Wow, that is the tightest finish of this entire regatta, .02. Separating first
I gotta
and
say
second.
that coach must be happy. Both athletes
like
operating
that really
at that
comes.
level.
I challenge you at home. Take out your phone. Take out your phone. I say, take out your phone and try to on your stopwatch clock .02 difference.
I'll bet you can.
Like,
if
tap
you
your
can,
finger.
If you can find a way to let us know.
That is
I'll
the
bet you
power
can.
of the Saratoga timing team. They got that quick twitch. And we're already off on the next race. Boys U17 grand final for the single boat class, 9 boats across. They're beautiful out there. Great drone shot here. Tailwind pushing them right down the course.
Looks like the tail's picking up a bit
You're
here.
welcome. Saratoga Springs pulling in for us. A little bit of steering issue there from our current leader, but they'll get centered in their lane in no time. Row America Rye is that leftmost boat. Mohawk Homeschool, Port Jefferson C, Port Jefferson A, Port Jefferson B, all in a row. Albany B, Niskayuna A, Oak Neck A, Long Island Rowing Club, all the way there on the right side of your screen. I hope you asked your child what color their boat was and not what color they're wearing, because the drone shot, it's a little hard to see those tiny people.
Hard. I mean, that red boat there is
that's identifiable.
Easy to pick out.
Like, Mom, I'm in the red boat. Mom, I'm in the red boat. Happy Mother's Day. I'm in the red boat. But all the way on the left, still leading, Romare Karai A, followed by second place currently the Port Jefferson C entry. Again, we can read into the A, B, C notation, or we can say maybe Coach just maybe they're called Al, Blake, and Chad.
You never
it's just
know.
Their names.
You never know with the coaches here.
We never know. Great shot here of kind of the trailing clump here. We've got lanes 2, 3, 4, and I couldn't make out that sculler, but that was Niskayuna, Albany Rowing Center, Port Jefferson B there on our screens moments ago. And here's Romare Karai A. They've got contact here between Romare Karai A and Port Jefferson C. That Port Jefferson C athlete can probably feel a little bit of momentum here coming in, as he was sitting a full length down and now he's got contact.
Key for a single to feel the other crews around you as you try and make that push. I have to say though, Hannah, I mean, it from this drone shot, it just looks so serene. All these singles, just peaceful. So peaceful. But tell me, is it when you're in that, is it really as peaceful as it looks?
So rowing is a full body sport. It's actually one of the more coordinated motions in the athletic world. Oftentimes it gets a bad rep for being the exile for non-ball sport playing athletes, for not having hand-eye, but the single especially is super technical. It's all about body awareness, and in a race, every part of your body is screaming to stop, please, end it now.
End this pain.
And so it's really a masterful art to be able to race the single here. You've got no one but yourself, your own inner dialogue, your self-talk really shining through. And so sometimes these athletes have different approaches. It may look peaceful to us, but they might be rage rowing out there, tapping into anything that's ever angered them in their whole lives and using that emotion to power them down the course. They might be thinking about, this is the most fun I've ever had in my whole life.
They could be
out here in nature, a tailwind's pushing me down the course, and I see the red buoys.
I'm having a blast. Or, you know, I sometimes fall into the camp of no emotion, right? So you're just, you are.
Are you a counter?
I do count sometimes. I count on and off.
And we mean strokes.
Strokes. Oh, yes.
Not
like
counting
5s,
the buoys
10s,
or the ducks or
yeah, no, like the trees, no. But yeah, then you know some people who it's not necessarily emotion fueled. It's you're thinking about maybe a technical change or
a rhythm sometimes. Legs rhythm, and swing is a really popular focus for a lot of athletes.
Thinking about your breathing. So you never know what is going on between the ears. With the singles in particular.
As we go into the sprint, we'll start seeing these athletes doing what's called lifts or sprint steps. And so oftentimes athletes won't just flip a switch and start going as fast as possible. They'll kind of do it a few chunks at a time so that each one is succinct and like a potent move. So we see here comes Romare Karai, not in a picture, but there's lane 6, Port Jefferson C. Lane 5, Port Jefferson A. But it does appear to be Romare Karai A here in lane 8, just out of our picture. There they come, still charging. But Port Jefferson B over there in lane, Port Jefferson A, currently charging here.
But it looks like Romare Karai will take this boys'
But I think Port Jefferson A will be able to sprint through this field for second place. They were not sitting in second place for much of that race.
What a push.
That's Port Jefferson C, followed by Mohawk Homeschool for 4th. And here comes lane 4, Port Jefferson B. Lots of good races there. I love the hats off at the finish line, shouting over to your competitors, good race, respect. Lane 2, Niskayuna, and lane 3, Albany Rowing Center B will take the next 2 positions. Here comes Oak Neck A. And we've got one more boat on the field, Long Island Rowing A, to wrap up this boys U17 single final, grand final. Some tickets punched. We're in the postseason now, so we're looking to kind of culminate our season here. You know, it's like a capstone project. What have you been working on all season,
all year, all spring, couple years? Like, you don't know what's gone into this. And that is the great thing about rowing, right? So you could have picked up this sport just this spring for the first time and have found yourself going to Florida for nationals, or you could have been working for this for 2 or 3 years.
It's true.
And have finally punched your ticket. And I guess the same could be said for any sport, but I do feel like with rowing in particular, you get you can have athletes that get on board pretty quickly compared to other sports.
Here are the times from the boys varsity pair final. Again, it was too close to call for our eyes. Royal America Rye A just eked out Oak Neck A's entry by 0.2, almost 0.1. Really nice racing there. Takes a relentless competitor to push one another that hard all the way down. It's not like we say, oh, no, you take it. You take it. No, you take it.
Oh, no, everybody's giving it all they got.
Everyone's
no one's
pushing.
giving an inch. And I shout out there to Canisius, both their A and their B boats. They're in the boys pair final.
Mm-hmm. Up next, we have the girls' Novice 8 Grand Final. So these are all seeded from this morning's time trials. Let's see who's the favorite here. A storyline of the morning, or the afternoon. Girls' Novice 8 time trial results. Baldwinsville had the fastest time of 5:39.9, a whole 15 seconds ahead of City Island. So should be interesting to see how Baldwinsville can do, if they can repeat that kind of a margin in this side-by-side racing. Next, we have Pittsford Crew, who finished just a second behind. Then Saratoga, a second behind them. And then we have a small gap of 5 seconds back to Liverpool High School, Emma Willard, Fayetteville Manlius B, Baldwinsville B, and Fayetteville Manlius A. So 9 boats across
and
here.
Hannah, I think we got to make sure that we don't rely on the drone for this one, given how fast Baldwinsville was in the time trial.
They might be so fast that our drone can't keep up. Just kidding. Our drones are fast. All right, so the Novice 8. What do you do when you get into an 8 for the first time? What's it like?
Oh man, it's been
Do you
years.
remember?
Let me try and pull up those memories.
We should have interviewed them before they launched. Be like, excuse me.
That might be like a post-race thing, you know?
True.
Freshman year of high school, what did I think of the 8? Well, it's a big boat. It feels a little bit like a bathtub, I remember. I was like, wow,
there's a lot of body weight in there.
There's a lot of body weight.
And that's not like, it's just a
You got 8 people, 9 people there with the Coxed. Yeah.
And so as it moves around and surges or slows, or different body weights get places at different times potentially, you feel it.
And you know what's funny too is I think I remember feeling in the Novice 8 for the first time how much of an impact I did not have, because you're one of 8, right? So even if you decide to go really, really hard, or you decide to like push extra hard, it's not gonna have the same impact on that boat as maybe
a 4
or a quad, or you know, a single or something like that. So you know, the 8 is really the boat of how together can you be, how much of the same thing can you all be doing, and applying power together, because the sum of the parts is definitely less than the whole. The whole is far stronger in the 8.
And especially here as we look up at the start line of our 1,500 meter race course here on Fish Creek in Saratoga Springs, we're also thinking about how do we accelerate this huge boat together. These boats are very long.
Yeah, they're very heavy
and
too.
They're very heavy. 8s, I'll get you here we're fact checking so my coach doesn't call me out again. 8s are usually about 60 feet long. And you think about the weight of each athlete, and then the weight of the shell. And
Which
it's
I think that what's the shell, like 100 something pounds?
oh, I'll look it up. Can our viewership look it up faster than me? If you're just joining us, welcome to the New York State high school championships. Here we've got middle schoolers, high schoolers, club teams, high school teams, homeschool teams, all here racing.
And coming up here is the girls Novice 8 final. And right now we're just trying to figure out how heavy these boats are, because when you were at the start and you have to take those first 5 strokes, it's a lot of weight to start just immediately going very, very fast. So
do you know when you look up, so I'm here trying to fact check myself so I don't get called out by my coach again who's listening. And I'm reading an article that explains the weight of each boat, and it's kind of like one of those recipes nowadays when you look up a recipe
all the way
and
down.
they give you their life story.
Yeah.
Before
You're like, I didn't want to know that. I just wanted to know
I'm about to go grocery shopping and I need to know the ingredients. Yeah. Could you please get to the ingredients? But it's a similar situation I'm having now, is they're telling me the life story of rowing.
The history of the entire sport.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
really all we want is how much.
Oh, and now I'm getting an ad
weigh?
for a hydro. Goodness gracious. Okay. 8s can weigh around 250 pounds.
So that's a lot of weight.
Can you pick up 250 pounds?
I mean, yes, if it's
I know,
a deadlift.
I was just teasing you up.
But by myself.
But you do acknowledge it's heavy.
Oh, it's very heavy. Okay. It's very heavy. And especially
we have some Herculean commentators here.
If you have 250 pounds of boat plus 8 rowers and 1 coxswain, it's a lot of power to push that whole unit off the line. So
we'll lowball it and say each athlete weighs 120 pounds, because these are novice athletes. We might be freshmen, first years in high school.
Yeah.
So that's 1,000 pounds of human, plus 250 pounds of boat, plus maybe the oars weigh how much? I'll say 2 pounds each.
No, I think more than that. maybe
I'm trying
5,
to lowball it so that when I'm wrong, it's like, actually, it's worse. Okay. So I had about 20 pounds for oars. 1,350.
So 1,350
that's almost
pounds.
That's almost a ton. Not really. It's closer to a ton than I've picked up recently.
But so now you'll see here, so these boats are getting locked onto the stake boats here.
And they're about to pick up over 1,000 pounds of weight all together.
Have to
at the same time.
At the exact
very
they
coordinated.
have to do it at the exact same time, or else someone's going to get hurt.
And the people that can do it the best will find themselves in a very cheeky advantage here, sitting a couple seats up on the field.
Yeah, and
so how do we do it?
In these 8s race, it's definitely we saw the singles before, right? And that's power, but there's also a lot of finesse, right? There's a lot of balance getting that boat from a standstill up to race speed. In the 8, there's not so much a balance game. Yeah, it's a lot more blending, but it's also just like getting that raw power on. Really just getting those first 5 to 10 strokes to be super explosive to help move all that weight off the line.
Oftentimes crews will do what's called like short slide strokes at the start, and so the idea being if we can take more strokes in a row quicker than our competitors, we'll get the boat from a standstill stop up to our peak pace that much faster. And so you see some crews doing 3/4 slide strokes, half slide strokes, or they're only coming up halfway up the slide or to where their legs aren't quite all the way up there at the catch.
So it'll be shorter, quicker strokes just to get the boat moving, and then they'll start lengthening them out as the boat picks up speed.
So often these athletes will talk about having a first 5 sequence. Here you have a nice shot of just how hard it is to maneuver these boats. So this coxswain trying to work with their athletes on moving this 60+ foot long shell. Stake boat holders trying to help them out and figure out how to do that. It's hard to maneuver. There's no steering wheel or gas involved.
Right, so here you'll see actually what I was talking about before. So the 2 seat has given up their blade to the 3 seat to try and tap it around, getting that blade closer to the hull so it actually turns the boat instead of pulling it forward.
Good. And so now they're doing what's called backing. So oars still going in and coming out together, but you'll notice they're going the opposite direction. So the blade goes in at the finish position where their legs are down and they're laying back with the arms in, and then they push all the way up to the catch.
And I have to say, well done to that coxswain there for
good
orchestrating
backing.
that. You had the 3-seat using the 2 seats blade, the 2 backing 7 and 8,
and so
they're
now
locked on.
So now they'll get centered in their lane. Probably bow seat will pass their blade up. There you go. And soon enough, we'll have our first 5 into what maybe a high 10 or a high 20, where it's just all about explosive and fast-paced strokes. Look at that. Quick start.
Oh, we have a bit of alignment. Let's make sure that coxswain gets straight over there in lane, what is that, 2 or 1?
Lane 1.
Lane 1.
We have lane 0 through 8. So if you're looking on your phone or on a printout of the lane assignments here, lane 0 is going to be down at the bottom of our screens. Lane 8 is at the top. And these crews are seated from this morning's time trials. So the fastest time trialers are at the top in lane 8, and then the slower times down to the bottom. So Baldwinsville, A at the top, City Island, Pittsford, Saratoga, Liverpool, High School, Emma Willard School, Fayetteville Manlius B, Baldwinsville B, and Fayetteville Manlius A down here at the bottom of our screen.
So it looks like Pittsford has actually taken a bit of an early lead here.
Really
Still contact.
Strong start.
But, you know, I'd say 3/4 of a boat up on the rest of the field.
So, Kate, would you say this is serene? It still looks very pretty, but now we
No,
pan to the side-by-side, and suddenly I'm
this
terrified.
This is chaos, Hannah. This is chaos. When you're in it, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of bodies moving. There's a lot of oars moving. There's a lot of coxswains yelling, and especially when the boats are all tight like this, you're hearing not just your coxswain, but other coxswains. So
and those coxswains are mic'd up.
Oh yeah, they're not. It's not just
their speakers
voice
all
of the
the way
boat.
down
It
the boat.
is.
Hopefully, I mean, kudos to the coxswains.
You know, you got to be able
who
to
have
hear from bow
a
to stern.
microphone break on them at the start line, and suddenly they have to scream Bloody Mary to be heard by the rowers in the bow.
But yeah, it's a lot to block out as a rower and just focus on your own crew. Or, you know, some rowers absorb it. You know, some rowers, and I know.
It's like playing in a big stadium, March Madness.
Yeah,
they love
yeah,
the noise.
you feed off of the energy. So everyone has a different way of managing it.
And we got a great move here from Baldwinsville crew here as they come across the 500-meter buoy. Seemingly had a better shift down to base. So sometimes it's hard to transition from those high explosive strokes of the start to your base cadence. And it can feel like sometimes you're trying to find the balance of taking a little bit off the gas or putting on the brakes because you want to find something that's sustainable, but you also want to stay a little bit on it and be aggressive or competitive.
And particularly in this 8s race, because it'll be a faster race, right? It's only 1,500 meters, and you're in an 8, so the times will be quicker. You don't have as much time as you do in a singles race to make a move or you know, make a push as a crew. So it's really that balance of how hard can I push all the way to the end, because it's not as much time as the other boat classes.
Baldwinsville here, great shot of these athletes rowing super well here. Again, this is the girls' Novice 8, so all these athletes new to the sport of rowing in this 2022 to 2023 year season. Really strong rowing. You can tell these athletes have been putting in a lot of work, focusing on technical changes, focusing on rowing together. These blades of Baldwinsville really matched up here. It takes a lot of work to do that. They're making it look really easy here. The angles all matching up, which usually indicates that the bodies are also matching up.
Yep, swinging together. That's a nice shot.
And you can see you got a little bit of bumpy water here as the tailwind's kicking against the head current. So these athletes doing a good job of what's called tapping down around the release. So as the blade comes to the end of your range of motion at the end of the drive, making sure we push down on the handle just so that the blade doesn't get disrupted by those waves.
Yeah, extraction.
Can really tire out the shoulders
it
to hit the water every single time.
time.
It takes a little bit of the boat speed as well. As you think about the aerodynamics of it.
Yeah, so that is interesting. A lot of the times, not a lot of the, well, more times than not, I would argue that the crews that usually look better are faster, just because hitting water, not looking together, those are things that actually do decrease boat speed. So crews that are looking uniform, clean.
And then sometimes the ones that just
And,
haul
well,
on
that's
it.
the other
take
thing.
it
Yeah,
all.
I mean, sometimes it can be the messiest race ever, but you still win just because of the power and how much you want it. So
Baldwinsville A coming into the 250 here. These buoys change from white to red. Still have Pittsford over here charging. City Island and Saratoga going bow ball to bow ball here. Slight advantage to City Island. Saratoga will try to put in a strong punch in their last 30 strokes or so. Might not have enough time. We'll see who has the better sprint ability here, who has the more explosive power, City Island or Saratoga. It's Baldwinsville Day here on Fish Creek for your New York State Championship Girls Novice 8 Grand Final. And here comes Pittsford into their last 20 strokes.
wow, and here
I can hear them all coming.
Yep,
They're thundering.
yep.
It's like a stampede,
It is.
the
It's
girls'
like
eights.
let the horses run.
Especially
let the wild
after all
horses
those
run.
singles. Here we go. Saratoga surging here. They hear their fans. They hear all of their teammates on shore. Will Saratoga have enough to take third here in this girls' Novice 8 Grand
so there we go,
Final?
Baldwinsville.
Baldwinsville takes the gold. Pittsford takes the silver.
And it looks like
Saratoga will take the
takes
bronze.
third.
Oh my gosh, City
Closely
Island just
followed by
outpushed.
City Island.
Holy smokes. Here comes Liverpool High School for very hotly contested 5th place.
Wow, and then this back half of the field, it is
Photo
tight.
finish?
It is tight.
Wow, we'll have to come back to that for those next set
Yeah,
of
I'm excited to see
finishes.
those times. That was close.
Emma Willard and Baldwinsville B near photo finish on that one. I couldn't tell you. And our 2 Fayetteville Manlius boats. Do you think Coach put out even lineups on that one? Just said, have at it.
Someone should
Duke
ask
it
him.
out.
I don't know.
And even here, Fayetteville Manlius paddling beautifully.
Right afterwards, yep.
You just coach that muscle memory, those automatic technical
Well, and
changes,
I
and
have
then
to
when
s-
you're paddling,
I
you
have
still
to, yeah,
do
I
it
have to
beautifully.
say though, I mean, post-race, it usually hurts less to paddle than to sit still. It's just
It's
you know,
true.
just
Flush that
sitting-
out.
Just sitting in that lactic acid, you're just like,
Okay,
I'm hurting.
here's
and
a
I can't
hot
do
take. Is
anything.
it lactate or lactic acid? I've been getting different.
Yeah.
There's a shift going
Lactate,
on
lactic
in the
acid.
scholarly side of rowing, of the physiological
I would have
studies.
to do some more research before backing.
I've
up one or
been
the
I've been
other.
hearing rumors of a shift to lactate, not lactic acid.
I might need to hit
Like
the, books after
the
this.
lactate is what you actually are feeling. I don't know.
Is
I'll look it up.
Is it different words for the same thing, or are they two different substances?
I think one caught hold culturally, but the scientists were like, no, you're saying the wrong word. But, once it catches fire in all of
Once it's in the zeitgeist,
the magazines, the Roats UK articles, Boys in the Boat probably writes about it,
Yeah, and then it's done because that's
It's-
all
you're
everyone
done for.
hears, Yeah.
like,
yeah.
becomes more of a social experiment than an actual science experiment.
Well, what I can say
Anyways.
though is whatever chemical you produce at the end of the race,
Flush it out.
lactic acid,
Paddle.
yeah, flush it out. Because I gotta say, sitting there just having it course through you, one of the worst feelings. I have
Here
to
we
say.
have our girls U16 Cox Quad final, grand final. Saratoga had the fastest time of the morning's time trials. They're over there on the left side of your screen, currently sitting a length up on the field. Then we've got a tight battle between our next 4 boats, Row America Rye B, Row America Rye A, Albany A, and Port A. Looks like we've got an open lane next, so maybe a scratch from Buffalo, BSRA, and then Manhasset and Saratoga B duking out in the low lanes by Lee's Park. Great shot here. That's our that's Row America Rye. Fresh new unis for those Rye athletes. They're already coming into the last 500 shortly. I think, let's see, can I see from here? Yeah, they're just over halfway through this race.
So we've got about 750 meters to go.
Yeah, we should have 8 boats in this race, but it looks like we have a scratch in lane 3.
And it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Saratoga seems to be way up here on the field.
But this time they're in the drone shot. Not like
true.
earlier.
That is true. We've got everybody in here.
We're flying high. And it looks like pretty much Balboa to Balboa for the second and third place positions, Balboa to Balboa for fourth and fifth. We'll see, again, this is the girls U16 Cox Quad, so these are all 15-year-old athletes or younger. So a lot of room to grow in this age category. There's a lot more racing to be done and a lot of learning to be done, and so we'll see what these athletes can produce here. Saratoga seeming to run away with it, puffing their chest a little bit. Good day to be a chev, a horse swirl. Really awesome rowing here from Saratoga's A entry in lane 8. You can see those oars moving beautifully all together. A little bit of a send, too. You can see those oars just kind of pop out at the finish, making it look super dynamic there around the release.
And I just got to turn attention, to this pack of 4 here, duking it out for second and third.
Looks like Romare Karai, A's entry, pushing off on the trailing Port, who's still sitting in medal contention for third. They're sitting about bow to stern on Romare Karai B. Romare Karai B about 3 to 4 seats up on Albany Rowing Center. Trailing, we've got Manhasset over there on the right, and all the way on the right, Saratoga B. We've got a tailwind here, so big margins are even more impressive as we just condense our race into a shorter time frame, and thus a big margin is harder to get. And they're showing off here. Saratoga rowing with now about 5 lengths of open between them and the second place crew, currently Romare Karai A, who's lengthened their lead into second place pretty decisively, sitting 4 seats up on Port. Port holding off a really strong charge from Rye B and Albany.
We see the Saratoga crew here looking pretty good all together, blades moving in and out.
Got a really nice together swing of the torsos.
And this, little
looks crab.
Like we could potentially have a crab. We've got good recovery.
Built an insurmountable lead, so it's going to still be Saratoga.
And as a note, these quads do have a coxswain, which is nice. So you've got
we hear them for one.
Yeah, we hear them. You've got someone who's steering you down the course.
Here comes Rye for second place,
helping to unify the boat.
I know they're almost hard to see them because their whole body's tucked in there. Really tight finish between Port and Rye B.
I don't
Czech
know.
Regatta or Streamline Rowing / Regattas for the official timing. We'll give it to you after the next race as our officials make that time official. That's their job, those officials. Lane 2, Manhasset coming in next here, really sprinting hard. And to finish up this field, we have Saratoga B. Nicely raced Saratoga athletes. And just like that, we're going to bring it back up to the start line. There are the times from the previous race, the girls' Novice 8 Grand Final. Won decisively by Baldwinsville with a really strong shift to their base pace, and then they just ran away with it. And there's our tight finish between Saratoga, who just outsprinted City Island for third. Awesome racing there from the girls' Novice category. We'll do another Coxed event here. We just watched the girls' U16 Cox Quad final. Next, we're going to the Coxed 4 final. This is the third final, or the C final. So we have quite a few entries in this boat class. This boat class known for, I would say, the toughness of the Coxed 4. It's a smaller boat than the 8, so as we've kind of talked about, if you're just joining us, we've discussed it a little bit so far in this regatta. The Coxed 4 is a little bit more susceptible to each individual athlete's movements and each individual athlete's power, so you can kind of think of it like you are a quarter of the boat, and so when you do 10% more, the boat feels
Yeah,
it
it
a little
makes
bit
a
more.
bigger impact.
And the same thing, if you get tired and you slack off 10%, your boat's going to also feel
I
it.
mean, power also in terms of technique, right? So, like, if there's changes you've been working on, the boat can definitely feel that. If you're, let's say, you're trying
they
to
can
make
hype you up when you sit up at the finish,
Yeah,
or
they can feel that your hands are getting away at the speed they need to, or maybe your legs aren't getting down as fast. Those changes can be felt by everybody. So I think the 4 is a nice boat. You've got some autonomy in terms of being able to really have an impact.
right.
But you're still, got that strong kind of crew mentality of the 4 of you, needing to do everything together, all in sync as one.
Good. So from right to left here on your screens, we're here on the finish line bringing you this live coverage of the C final for the girls varsity Coxed 4. We've got Sierra Crew, which is a nice pun, Pittsford B, Spackenkill A, FDR A, Arlington High School A, Liverpool High School A, Wappingers Crew Club A, Nichols School A, and Rhinebeck High School. Let's see, that's bound number 7, so that must have been bound number 6. That was just ahead.
Pittsford, and I guess is that Spackenkill?
So Spackenkill just out of frame here, currently outdoing their seed, besting Pittsford through the first 500. But as we saw in that last race, it's truly who's got the fitness and strength, the willpower to endure the middle that can really make a huge difference. So Spackenkill having a really strong start. We'll see if they can hold on to that advantage as these other crews have that side-by-side kind of relentless, innate racing going on. So it's going next to another crew, pushing you, challenging you to go a little bit harder than you might think you can.
And here on our frame we have Sierra Crew.
They wanted that to happen.
They
knew.
It happened. I fell.
Awesome power braids from
wonder.
that stroke seat from Sierra Crew. But again, it's still going to be Spackenkill who has the early lead here as they approach the halfway point, this 1,500-meter New York State Championship C final. This is the culmination of a long season. Beautiful day here on Fish Creek. Beautiful day to race. The weather is perfect. Got a bit of a tail.
I think it's calmed down a little bit.
Warm enough to wear
race.
just your uni. Also breezy and crisp enough to wear an undershirt if you so desire.
There's options. There's outfit options.
But enough about the outfits. We've got a race coming into the last 500. Again, it is still Spackenkill with that lead. And it looks like a tight race between, I believe that's Arlington High School, Pittsford B, and Sierra Crew currently vying for those next places in this C final. And look at this pack here.
Yeah, you've got almost 2 crews neck for neck, and the other 3.
Looks like Wappingers just about open water on this trailing pack, followed by Liverpool High School, Nichols, and Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck there on the right, Nichols next to them. And a charging Liverpool High School challenging FDR 2 lanes over. Everybody's got a sparring partner in this one.
Which that can be nice, right? Sometimes when you're out there by yourself, either ahead or behind, it can be hard to
find that motivation.
Yeah. Feel that push together. So having someone beside you, I've always found has definitely, I think, helped performance for both crews.
Good. And again, all of these athletes raced in the time trial this morning. So managing not only this race, but trying to also manage the recovery time in between. These athletes fueled well, maybe caffeinated, I don't know. You like caffeine?
Did you do caffeine?
In high school, no.
Did you drink caffeine in high school?
No. It was just pure emotion, the youth.
Riding the vibes.
Yeah. But Spackenkill riding the vibes here as they lengthen their lead in this girls' C final for the Varsity 4 event. Hotly contested 2 lanes over. They've got Arlington High School and looks like Pittsford B duking it out. Again, these coxswains are tucked down in the bow decks of the boat, so their whole body's underneath that bow deck, their heads just poking out. Got a comfortable headrest but they're looking outside, and it's hard to see. You're right at the water line. You can't see your own athletes to give them feedback on what they look like or how they're rowing.
Yeah, I mean, this Coxed reel here is definitely difficult. You have to develop some really good feel of
Holy
the boat
smokes,
to be
Arlington
able
is
to
on the
give direction.
move. Hold on, Spack and Kill. You're so close to the finish line. Pittsford and Sierra Crew duking it out as well. Oh my gosh,
And it will
Pittsford.
be Spack and Kill. Closely followed.
Arlington, oh God. Arlington will take it second place, followed by Pittsford, then Sierra Crew. So that's Wappingers next.
And again, we're seeing these close finishes here.
That's Liverpool High School.
In the women's C4
FDR
final.
and Nichols. And to finish out this very hotly contested C final, Ryan Beck will take it across the line.
And here are results from our girls' U16 quad.
So it's too close to call for us between that second and third, but here you have it. The official times, Row America IB just squeezed out over our Friends of Port entry.
Of Port rowing by what was that, 0.2? Looks like.
Yeah, 0.2. Super good racing. Nice unis there. Fun pattern. You know, I love to see different patterns going on. Not sure actually who that was. Who was that?
Yeah, and I gotta say, if we're speaking of outfits here, I mean, I think that the number of different uni options over the past couple of years has definitely exploded. I've been seeing like
in terms
JL,
of
Boathouse,
the
776. Yeah,
company.
I mean, I think that the number of companies, I mean, Regatta
Sure,
Sport.
we've got Regatta Sport here on site. They've got so many unis.
Yeah.
Check out the vendors. We've got the petite final underway here. They're just about, looks like if I know Fish Creek, they're over halfway. We've got another 9-boat final, Pelham, over there on the far right side, currently your leader, followed by Baldwinsville, Our Lady of Mercy High School, Riverdale, Cortland, Nardin Academy B, Emma Willard, Suffern High School, and Fayetteville Manlius here on the bottom of our screen, currently in beautiful view. Showcasing beautiful catches and finish timing there from Fayetteville Manlius. Holding just about contact,
Looks
maybe
like,
about a
we've
seat down.
We've got a solid pack here in the middle of this race. It looks like on the top of
too
your
close
screen
to call for
that Pelham has kind of pushed their nose out there.
but Baldwinsville,
on
Our
the top
Lady
of
of
our screen
Mercy,
here.
Riverdale Country School, Cortland, Nardin, all in a tight pack there.
Yeah, this could be anyone's race by this point for these 5 crews.
And again, these coxswains playing a pivotal role here as the athletes try to focus on matching one another. Oftentimes when athletes look outside of the boat, even for the most skilled athletes, it can take their mind away from the rhythm of the boat, the matching of the girl in front of them. And here we go, last 500. We'll see a little bit of separation of these as these crews have different sprinting abilities.
Looks like this Pelham crew here just got another burst. Once
They've
they
got
came to that
another
500.
gear. They
Just
wanted to go
ratcheting it up.
early. You know,
Yeah.
500 is a early time to sprint. Takes a lot
It
of
is.
trust in your
It is.
fitness and your
And fitness and
training.
each other. Yep.
And so we'll see if these other crews are able to respond. Oftentimes, coxswains jockeying with one another to kind of game when to throw in their moves, calling on their athletes to hold another crew as they try to surge, gaining confidence that if they can hold the same pacing, that they can actually go faster than their competitor. But it looks like Baldwinsville taking a really competitive shift here to a higher rate, trying to stay as clean as we can there.
I'm just impressed with these crews to stay with it, right? Stay in this pack.
Riverdale and Nardin here duking it out, trying to push on the charging Baldwinsville crew. We'll see if they have enough room. They're coming into these red buoys, signaling, I would say, the more conventional time to sprint.
Yeah, 250 to go. I gotta say, Hannah, I'm a fan of the 300 to 350 because I am generally want to think that.
But
you
there's no
always
buoy there. How do you know? Maybe a
feel it.
speed
I
coach.
feel
A
it.
speed
A
coach.
speed coach, yes.
Um,
But I'm definitely a fan of that. You always have more left than you think you do.
But we've got 5 boats across here, challenging one
exciting.
another. Oftentimes racing here at the championship stage, the postseason, we see a new version of ourselves that we didn't know was within us. We get pushed by our competitors to the point of a new speed unlocked.
Finding another level.
Here goes Pelham Community coming in their last 10 strokes here in front of us at the finish line. They're going to secure first place
And I
in
think
this
maybe
B
even trying to
final.
make a statement here.
Trying to
as
compare
they
their
come
time to
through.
the grand final that's coming up next. And it's too close to call here from the finish line. We've got 5 boats across: Baldwinsville, Our Lady of Mercy, Riverdale Country School, Cortland, and Nardin
Well,
B.
and it looks like the one closest to our screen.
Baldwinsville will take second
Baldwin's
place.
will take second, and I'm not going to call third. I don't know who that went to.
Good luck.
But that
We'll go
that
back
is
to
an
we have
electric-
a
that is an
video
electric
review
race,
for
I
a
have to
reason.
say.
Here comes bow number 2, Emma Willard, a sister school program to Saratoga. That's going to be Suffern High School. Well rowed to all athletes, and finishing out this hotly contested B final, Fayetteville Manlius A. Congratulations all crews on a terrific season. It's a bit windy here on Fish Creek. If you can see, the water's a bit disturbed. The times are quick. And here's the results from the girls varsity Coxed 4 third final, or the C final. Our broadcasting tent is trying to leave the earth. We have the grand final underway. So while we make sure
we stay
our
put.
equipment stays on the ground. Row America Rye B, Burnt Hills, Nardin, Pittsford, Row America Rye A, Our Lady of Mercy A, Oyster Bay Community A, Cascadilla Boat Club A, and Shen A are all in this race. 9 boats across in the girls varsity Cox 4 grand final. This is for all the marbles. This is a capstone of a long spring season.
And I know that in a lot of clubs, in terms of how
We've got geese on the
they
course.
seed
Geese on
boats,
the course.
The 4 will sometimes be the kind of the top boat in the program. So you get some very competitive 4s.
We had
come out
really
here to
tight
race.
finishing too here from the time trial. So again, the time trial, you're going single file. No real indication of how fast you're going compared to your competitors. We did have a tough tailwind with a lot of bounce and chop on the water, and so those athletes maybe have been seeing some fast splits, but conditions made it quite challenging technically to stay clean, feel comfortable.
Feel comfortable. You know, honestly, kind of comfort can be overrated, I got to say.
It's true.
In a
Get
lot of
comfortable
rowing.
being uncomfortable. The top 4 times of the morning were just separated by 3 seconds, single file. So we'll see what these crews can do when they've got side-by-side competition. And early on here, it's tight. We're about halfway through the race, actually, and so these athletes have gone through their explosive starts. They've shifted to their competitive base pace rhythms, and this is the varsity Cox Tour event. This is, for some programs, the top boat of the program. Other programs might be prioritizing their 8s. Regardless of prioritization, we've got a really tight pack here vying for not only medals from this New York State Championships, but also vying for potentially a ticket to the next stage of the postseason. Might be Scholastic Nationals or even Youth Nationals.
Yep, depending what these crews decide. So this is truly all the marbles for these crews.
Really strong showing here. These coxswains mic'd up in the bows of the boat. Really tough position to be a coxswain in the Coxed 4 event, as you can't actually see your athletes. In the 8, these coxswains are more familiar with looking at the athletes, giving them kind of that coaching, the coach's
being
eye.
able to look at blades. You see everything that's going on.
You can see the timing, and so you can call on maybe a bow seat to be more direct to the water, or for your 7 seat to stick on the back of the stroke seat and back that person up just a little bit more exactly. In the 4, you don't have that coach's eye. The coxswains are tucked down there in the bow, and so they might be able to see bow seat, maybe 2 seats blade enter the water. But other than that, they have to go off feel. And so these coxswains not only trying to give their athletes the internal focuses, but also they have to look out from this really tight, like close to the water vantage point. It's really hard to see. So these coxswains are doing kind of a Herculean effort here in the Coxed 4 event. Also getting splashed.
Splashed, yeah.
Can become just a little puddle in there.
Yes, it can.
I'm trying to get this.
I have to echo Hannah's comment about relying on feel. I mean, you really have to tune in as a coxswain of these 4s to how the boat's moving and tailor your calls to that. So I would say it's definitely in some ways a level up from the 8.
So we can see Pittsford crew here on the
in terms of
left
having to cox.
with a slight advantage on the crews to their right. They were seated from left to right, so that should hold water, but we've got quite the surge here over there on the right. That looks like a Cascadilla uni to me. So they're doing fairly well there on the middle pack, overcoming their seed. In the green boat, that's going to be Narden Academy, trying to rally next to Pittsford. They've been side by side this whole race. These athletes able to feel their competitors in the lane next to them. But Narden has such a strong push. They've got that advantage. Their athletes actually looking down the backs of Pittsford, whereas Pittsford unable to have eyes in the back of their heads, unfortunately. And then as we come into view here, we also have Burnt Hills and Row America Rye B in the outside lanes. But it looks like it's going to be Narden Academy's day in this Varsity Coxed 4 Grand Final. Narden Academy coming in their last 5 strokes here, looking super strong. Still contact on Pittsford.
Pushing through the line.
Pittsford's taking
and
second.
Coming up third here, it looks like.
That's going to be Burnt Hills.
Burnt Hills, yep.
Row America Rye B will take 4th.
And I think was that Row America Rye A?
Looked like bow number 4, Our Lady of Mercy, but we'll get the official results to you. We're a little out of focus here on the finish line, both my eyesight and our camera. Do I need glasses? Maybe.
Maybe.
This is a confession.
Let me get that checked out in the next couple weeks or so.
Really tight finish there. Just the previous race, so the B final. Riverdale Country School coming out on top of Cortland just by 0.2. And
Yeah, had a lot of
Narden B
this afternoon.
coming in 6th just by half a second. And so oftentimes those close finishes, I think, are the ones that stick with you the most.
Oh,
both sides of the coin.
Oh, completely.
Like if you're favored and you come out half a second ahead, you think, oh my gosh, thank goodness. But I never want to be in a close race like that again.
Well, and then if you're behind, I mean, talk about fuel for the fire.
Right?
Like you finish and you're half a second behind.
Every
so
practice
close.
counts, doing every stroke as best as you can so that when you cross this line in the postseason, there are no regrets.
Yep.
You know that you did everything that you could. And sometimes there's a balance. You can say, I did everything I could, but I also learned something.
Yes.
Like I did everything in my power in the moment. If I could race one more time, here's what I would choose to focus on to improve, right? Like I did everything I could, but I think our first 5 was a little messy. It's just not as clean as I think we could have done.
Or we could have taken a 10,
Yeah.
at X point in the race here.
Exactly.
Pushed a little harder here, kept this technical change here. But, that hindsight is 20/20 and coming off the backside of that half a second.
That's why it's good to take notes.
That will stick with you.
Right? It's fresh. Write things down. How do you feel right now?
Pen to paper.
Because you might say, oh, I'll never forget this feeling, but your mind has a funny way of remembering things.
And not remembering things.
Exactly.
As the case may be.
Coming up at the start line, currently in the blocks held by our volunteer stake boat holders. Thank you all volunteers for all of your hard work, both here on the stake boats, but also driving our launches, working the traffic circle, working parking, working docks. Shout out to all of our volunteers. We have the Girls Junior U17 Coxed 4 Petite Final for you. 9 boats across. These athletes raced the morning time trial, and they're here to show off their side-by-side racing skills. Our Lady of Lourdes in lane 8, Buffalo Seminary in that's their B entry in lane 7, Port in lane 6, Warwick in lane 5, Cold Spring Harbor High School in lane 4, Narden Academy in lane 3, Our Lady of Mercy High School in lane 2, St. John the Baptist in lane 1, and Bayshore High School in lane 0. So again, that's left to right lanes. These athletes are getting backed into the stake boats so that we got a fair start. Again, with 9 boats across, oftentimes we'll have a quick start up there at the start line, especially with some of these younger crews. If it's been challenging to get locked onto the stake boats or challenging to maintain our points, sometimes the referee will opt for the quick start, because in the time it takes to list 9 different programs entries, your point can go horribly awry. And there's nothing quite like the terror of sitting at the start, hearing crews get called, and your point drifting slowly into the other lane.
And you know you're going to have to fix it before you go, or not. Or they might just call it, and you're like, well, we're going to fix this on the fly.
So then your first 5 strokes, instead of just thinking about building boat speed and building explosive rhythm, you're just thinking starboard press.
Starboard. And that is why you'll see these referees call a quick start sometimes. Because alignment can be a fleeting thing. So if you have everyone aligned right in the moment,
just go.
There's no need to wait as the names are called, especially on a day like today.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the New York State Championship here in Saratoga Springs, New York. Beautiful day in the capital region. We've got mostly clear skies. Puff of a tailwind, pretty steady winds. What's nice about the tailwind is that if a gust does come, it is a helpful friend. It's not a foe that's joining you in this competitive field.
Well, I don't know. I think that.
Well, when you get smacked by a headwind gust,
it's more friend than a headwind.
It feels like you're getting smacked.
I will give you that. It's definitely more friend.
You can't really get
than a
smacked by a tailwind in the same way, emotionally. You think?
I think it depends on the tail. I would say that depending on how it interacts with the water and the flow, it can really create some difficult conditions where maybe the wind isn't smacking you, but
there are some
you could
strokes,
get some waves.
I think of it like
the
sails too. Like your blade is not huge, but there is an
I
aerodynamic factor in there. And so if you're
push.
coming up to the catch and you get hit by a headwind gust, this is my hot take. This is the hill I'm going to die on, Kate. If you get hit by a gust as your blades are coming up to the catch, and suddenly you're not taking your full catch, you're taking a half slide catch because the wind is so strong that it takes your blade and pushes it back like a sail, versus a tailwind gust, if you're about to take your catch, just fills you up.
Here's the hill I will die on in regards to that. I believe that you should adjust your squaring up with the wind if you are able to, right? So squaring up.
But
what
if you don't know? What if you don't know?
What do you mean you don't know the wind?
If the gust hits right at the moment. Obviously, in a headwind, you should square up
which
later.
Kind of wind you're getting generally.
True.
Right. So, I think, on a day like today with the tail, I would argue that crews should be squaring
Prepare
up
for the
earlier.
smacks.
Well, squaring up earlier
the
to
head
catch that
and
wind, right? To open those sails, right? You're getting that
open those sails.
Half an
That's
inch, little bit of more push each stroke if your blades are catching that wind. Whereas in the head, square at the last minute, or else you're gonna get pushed around.
Here we have a
that's
great view of the start. We've got the girls' junior U17 Coxed 4B final. Petite, there's nothing petite about it. This is the big dogs here coming out to show off their speed after a long spring season. Maybe even a long year of training depending on the program. Early lead here in the middle from lane 4 is going to be Cold Spring Harbor with a really explosive start. They've got 2-3 seats of advantage depending on the boat you're comparing to. Cold Spring Harbor with that fast twitch.
Which is quite a lot after only, what would you say, 250 meters?
Yeah, they're barely just past the breakage zone. That's awesome. And then
Looks like
next,
they're joined by
Buffalo
who would that be?
Seminary
Buffalo
B,
Seminary, yeah.
and right next to them is going to be Narden and Warwick on either side. I would say Narden with a slight advantage there as well. And it's hard in these 9 boats across. You want to find the fight you want, right? So there's 9 boats to fight with, sparring partners, you might say. But you want to be in the fight you want. So there's a fight to be had anywhere, at any speed. But these coxswains are looking across, demanding their athletes join the fight for that top place, right?
Yep, and I gotta
It's
say
hard.
though, it looks like Buffalo is trying to avoid the fight altogether. They are getting their nose
Yeah,
out
Buffalo
ahead
Seminary
there.
B, really nice shift to base as we see them coming through that next stage, that second 250.
But yeah, these 4 or 5 boats in the middle.
Wow,
That is a
whatever they're
fight.
doing on that, whatever they're thinking about, length, sometimes the shift down to base pace from the explosive start, athletes will think about length, so they're making sure they're getting full range of motion each stroke, because it's just a game of leverage rowing. It's just a game.
It's all physics.
Leverage.
It's all physics.
Other athletes will think more about like the rhythm, so finding something that feels aggressive and kind of fun, I think is the best base pace, is the one that feels fun.
And fast is fun, right? So what's
Right.
feeling speedy?
It's all mutually reinforcing. Fun, smooth, loose, quick, all these kinds of cues. And now we've got a dog fight for second place among
wow,
these
boats
middle
are
5
almost all
crews.
even. This
So Cold
oh my
Spring
gosh,
Harbor was
these
our early
crews
leader
are
off
just
the line,
in
but
it.
Warwick, Port, Narden, all kind of joining in. And
This
not
is some
to
tough
leave out
racing
Our
here,
Lady
to
of
be
Mercy
even
High
like
School
that.
as well. Again, this is the B final, so really tough fighting here. And this isn't even the top end speed of the field. Really competitive racing. Racing is a skill, and these athletes really hang in tough.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to sit in that discomfort, right, where you're pushing as hard as you can,
A little bit of
and the crew is
steering
sitting
issue
there
from
right
Our
next
Lady
to
of
you,
Mercy.
and no one's giving an inch. This is really where you see the mental game start to play out. And it looks like, who is that? Lane?
That's our Cold Spring Harbor
Cold Spring
friends
Lane
again.
5 is trying
They
to
had
break
that
away from this pack.
Early surge off the start. We know they have explosive power. It's just making sure that they can sustain that all the way down this 1,500-meter race course. They've got about a deck of advantage on that field for second place, but a really strong push here from Port over there on the left. It's still going to be Buffalo Seminary charging for that first place. Coming into the last 500 here, we'll see what kind of sprints these athletes have in their back pocket. So just to give you the lay of the land, trailing over there on the left is Our Lady of Lourdes. Currently in first, Buffalo Seminary on the left side of your screen next to Port, who's currently trying to punch their ticket for second place in this B final. Warwick just trailing down 2 seats. Cold Spring Harbor about a seat, maybe an inch, a foot of advantage. Maybe just bow ball to bow ball, more likely,
Yeah.
between Port, Cold Spring Harbor, and Our Lady of Mercy.
I think they may be down on Port. I think Port.
The beauty of the
well,
sprint. Things change so quickly
Yep.
the last 500.
Yep.
And then just
continuing on.
sitting 4 seats down, we have Warwick and Narden. So Warwick there on the left, Narden on the right.
Like,
Looks
Our
like
Lady of
Port.
Mercy
Our Lady of Mercy is
making a
that
push
other
here
one.
to try and make their bid for second
Gosh,
place.
it's like they're flying in formation, just in a beautiful zigzag.
Potentially first place. I mean, do we think the Buffalo
Buffalo
Seminary
hold
can
them off?
hold off all these charges?
We've seen some really impressive sprints here on Fish Creek in our time. Again, we're both Orion athletes here. We train here all the time. The last 500 is really fast, and it gets really exciting here in these red buoys in the last 250. Buffalo has the advantage staring down the backs of their competitors. We'll see if they can use that advantage to hold them off, as Port and Our Lady of Mercy are currently charging, but Cold Spring Harbor not relenting here. They're still in this fight. It'll be about who has the better last 20 strokes for who takes home this top 3 position. Again, B final. But we're practicing to race here. We're learning how to be competitive. Go for those top 3 positions. Buffalo holding off the charging field, taking a lot of maturity, a lot of faith and trust in each other.
And here, listen to those Coxons. You can hear them.
Our Lady of Mercy High
urging their
School,
crews on.
Port, neck and neck, 5 lanes across from each other. Those Coxons, again, up to the task, looking over.
So I think I'll call that Buffalo has it for first.
And I think Port's going to take second, but it's really close.
Yep, looks like Port took second with Our
Cold
Lady
Spring Harbor then next.
coming in
Holy
third.
smokes. Nardin will go next.
What a race.
And then that'll be Warwick. Whew. St. John the Baptist coming in next. And here comes Bayshore High School. Again, all results are on streamlinerowing.com. We'll post them here after the next race, so stay with us for the grand final, after which we'll give you those times for this petite final. Coming up, girls junior U17 Cox 4 grand final for all the marbles. We have Pelham, Pittsford, Baldwinsville, Romare Karai, Manhasset High School, Nichols, Buffalo Seminary A, Buffalo B just took the B final, Mount St. Mary Academy, and Nardin Academy B. So kind of interesting, Nardin A versus Nardin B. It's a hot take. Might just be short for the names of the Coxons. We've got Brenda and Abigail, maybe. We try not to read into those too much here. Coaches playing mind games with us.
Or it just, I mean, coaches may not play games at all, and it could be totally random depending. So
it's true. Different athletes performing under different types of pressure here. 9 boats across for your grand final of the girls junior U17 Coxed 4.
We have Pelham here over in lane 8.
Early lead here, really strong direct catches. Again, this is a tail. It's important to have direct catches anytime.
But particularly
especially in the tail, just so that you get full advantage of these conditions. Kate and I were talking about early about different takes on squaring up or how quickly you prepare the blade for the catch. Sometimes those blades can act like a sail, and so in the tailwind condition you might square up the blade a little bit earlier versus in the headwind you might delay it so that they're more aerodynamic through the air. Really nice shot of Pelham here, your favorite to win this event. They posted a time that was 15 seconds. 15 seconds faster than Pittsford A, the next fastest time trial. So,
which is right here on our screen. You can see them over here in lane 7.
Again, this is a girls junior U17 event, so no seniors in this category, no 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds. Kind of the future of these programs, you might say. Really kind of exciting to see how competitive, how mature these athletes can be just 16 years or younger. Great view here of our low lanes. We've got Nardin B, Mount St. Mary's, Buffalo Seminary, and Nichols School over there. Here's our lane 7 back up to the high lanes of Pittsford. And your leader, Pelham. Good. Again, it's super tough to race twice in one day. Some of these athletes racing even more depending on the small boats they might have raced yesterday. Trying to hold strong technical changes. You can see really nice acceleration here from these athletes in the Pelham boat. Trying to match up the legs coming down together, one swing of the torso. And oftentimes when we match up what our bodies are doing, we're also matching up the blades. And so really using the one unit, one system to charge the boat forward. There's lane 5 and lane 7. So we've got Pittsford and Romare Karai duking it out.
It looks like Row America Rye here has a bit of a lead. That could be the angle, but I think that
No,
they're
I think you're right. I think they've got
pushing
a
their nose
full
forward here.
2 to 3 seats up. Coming back from maybe not as strong of a time trial. Always exciting to come in as a little bit of an underdog mentality.
Which I can definitely appreciate. I think that the underdog mentality is definitely
It's fun.
It's fun. It's the fun place to be, and you've got nothing to lose. It can be hard being on top because there is pressure.
There's pressure.
There is the chance of I guess of underperforming, right? So
Right.
so to be that underdog, you get the chance to I don't know, row free in some senses.
Yeah. Baldwinsville trailing here, those medal positions, but kind of joined by Manhasset. They're in that fight together. They're sparring against one another, pushing each other each stroke.
And it looks like Pelham here is outrating these other crews. Just looking at their blades going, and they are really kind of pushing the rate here, it seems.
Just trying to do that together here. We're in those last 250, making sure as we sprint and empty the tank that we're doing that all at the same time. So we don't want one athlete to go up higher in rate than the rest of the athletes. We want to all do
chaos.
it together. Stroke seat lighting up that rhythm, 3 seat backing her up. The bow pair crucially in time with the stern pair. Oftentimes bow pair lauded for their balance abilities, making sure that their handle heights are together so that that boat stays nice and level, even keeled.
And here's a nice shot here. You can see Pelham ahead of the rest of the pack.
And what a charge from Pittsford. Row America Rye had a slight advantage, but it seems that Pittsford's got maybe a stronger second gear here. They've walked back about 5 seats here in this last 250 alone. Really exciting to see that kind of fight out of these junior athletes. We'll see if our friends from Baldwinsville can push on that medal contending crew. Just run out of room. Well rowed there from Baldwinsville.
Well rowed to all crews.
And here comes our low lanes next. Lane 1, Mount St. Mary's. Lane 3, Nichols School. And here comes Buffalo Seminary.
And bringing up the rear of the pack here is Narden.
Congratulations, all athletes, all crews here on a fantastic spring season. Thank you for coming here to Fish Creek for the state championship and showing off all of your hard work. Coaches, parents, and of course the athletes.
It does truly take a village. Coaches, parents,
oh yeah,
supporters. This is not a sport that is
it's hard to
you're
do
able
it by
on
yourself.
your own. I mean,
Yeah.
you could, yeah, but it's infinitely harder.
There are the times
and
that
having
it
a
was too
support
close to
network.
call for us here. Friends of Port just taking it ahead of Our Lady of Mercy High School. And another tight
0.4
finish
seconds
between Narden and Our Lady of Lourdes. Just about a half second between those crews as well. Awesome. We're going to go back up to the start because we've got nonstop action for you this afternoon. The girls' freshman 4A final. You know what?
I believe we're on
You're
the
right.
girls' junior
We've got
league,
one more before that.
U17-8. And here they
Let's
come
go.
charging down the course.
9 boats across. We have Row America Rye A and B in the Highlands on the left side of your screen. Burnt Hills, Narden Academy, Cascadilla Boat Club, City Island Rowing, Liverpool High School, City Honors High School, and Niskayuna A on the far right side of your screen in red. I love this shot. It doesn't tell us a lot about how the race is unfolding. Oh, there you go, the drone. But that finish line shot's so fun to just see all the blades going in and out together. Here we have it. Early leaders on the left side of your screen from Row America Rye. And a tight pack. Kate, this is exciting.
Yeah, we are all grouped together here. It looks like Row America Rye B might be close behind in second, but I really don't know.
I think you're right. And then Cascadilla is certainly trying to charge
But
their bow seat, trying to get a little bit
ahead. It is one of
ahead.
those races where you can't write anybody off. I mean, Cascadilla and whoever there is, lane 2. We've got City Honors High School. Looks like they're making a push. So,
It's early
this
days.
is an exciting
Early
one.
days. We're 500 in, so these athletes shifting to their quote base pace. Again, it's only the 1500, so most times the start and sprint sequences you can round up and say they take up the first and last 500 respectively. And so this middle 500 rather in the 1500 is kind of a shorter time to sit in the suck, you might say.
Sit in the sun.
And
but
so
that's, in these 8s, that's where the Coxed is
just
crucial,
gelling,
right?
finding
you
that
things to think about as
motivation.
a crew, motivating you through. Yep.
doesn't have to be brutal. It can be fun in the
it
middle
can be
500.
well, depends how the race is playing out. But yeah, look at these crews. They are in a pack here.
And worth noting here, it's maybe peaceful to us here on the finish line, peaceful to the drone flyers, but down there in the action, it is loud. Those coxswains are mic'd up with speakers all the way down the 60-foot-long boat. We did the math earlier. Each of these 8s weighs over 1,200 pounds, closer to 1,500 pounds, and each of these athletes are bringing that power, and these boats have momentum. It's like a runaway train to be in an 8, and these athletes from Row America Rye A and B currently sitting in first and second, riding that momentum. We've got a dogfight between Burnt Hills, Nardin, and Cascadilla. Nardin with a classic green.
Yeah, it could be anyone's race. I wonder if this
Got a
drone
double
shot
bucket
goes up if we can
from
see
Burnt Hills.
the double bucket.
Shout out to, I believe, Andy Sales as the coach over there. He commentated with us yesterday
with his lineups here
for some bonus free speed. Burnt Hills currently charging, maybe sitting a seat down on Nardin. But Row America Rye A and B kind of running away with this race as they have that second half speed to push away from the pack. Coxswain able to look back behind them. Demand a little bit more, just a little bit more. You're in that last 500.
And here we have with this kind of a newer drone shot here. You can see the blades really going in and out and get a better sense of how each individual here is rowing.
And just seeing how quickly those blades feather and square. Takes a lot of finesse to be able to rotate that handle quickly. And there's actually a huge audible cue as well. When you have the boat matched up, you can hear it in the oarlocks. Everybody's
because it'll click.
feathering
right? So
and squaring
when
together.
You feather, you hear a little kind of like a.
So
like a
sometimes
click.
we do like closed eyes rowing. I doubt they're doing it right now.
I would hope not, unless.
But Row America Rye really matched up here. Both in their A boat and B boat.
Through to the line.
A lot of power braids going on for free speed and confidence. Style points all around. They're finishing about 5 lengths ahead of the rest of this field in the girls' junior U17-8. Really dominant performance.
Congratulations to Rye.
Punching tickets, postseason vibes. Here comes Row America Rye B. Again, open water on the rest of this field. Maybe not 5 lengths like their A boat, but almost a full half a length on Nardin, who's currently sitting in 3rd.
And this does show the depth of their program to have 2 8s coming in 1-2 here in this
classic Rye scenario. Bow ball to bow ball. I'm uncomfortable calling it between Cascadilla and Burnt Hills.
I think Burnt Hills had it. I think they had it. But we'll wait to see the times.
We've got another battle coming in. We've got 9 boats across, so that was just the first half of the race. Here comes bow number 1, City Honors High School. Again, we're looking for both Youth Nats tickets and Scholastic Nationals tickets. So awesome to see both clubs and high schools duking it out.
Racing to the end.
Lane 2, Liverpool High School, just ahead of Niskayuna.
And that is your girls' junior U17-8 final.
Woo.
And here we have some times from the girls' U17-4. As you recall, we saw that Pelham boat have a commanding lead here for most of the race, as seen on our times. Almost 10 seconds ahead of second place Pittsford.
And speaking of times, I'm looking at the time trials results from this morning, and again, there's some strategy to racing twice in one day, so we'll take it with a grain of salt, but Buffalo Scholastic Rowing Association finished with a time of 6:35 this morning in this girls freshman Coxed 4. So they're seated first. They'll be over here in lane 8, followed by Our Lady of Mercy High School crew. They finished just 3 seconds behind in the time trial. Single file. It can be a bit lonely, the time trial. And so oftentimes you're missing that external motivation. Sometimes coxswains will try to give what's called ghost call rowing, where you pretend like there's another crew next to you, and the coxswain's trying to just bring your imagination there to tap into that kind of speed. And other times it's just pure internal focuses. And so we'll see how these time trial times from this morning compare to the margins we'll see this afternoon with some side-by-side free speed.
It is free speed. Having that person next to you can just draw it out, I believe.
So, Kate, here's the inside scoop from the finish line. We just saw an 8 come across the line, uncontested, alone.
And was that from the previous race that we missed, or was it?
If we have a scratch in either of the next few races, we will say it was them.
Yeah. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery to me, to you, to all of us. But upcoming, we have the girls' freshman Cox 4 grand final. We've got Buffalo Scholastic, Our Lady of Mercy, Buffalo Seminary, Nichols School, Wappingers Crew, Rhinebeck High School, and Spack and Kill Rowing Club. We had a little bit of separation in that time trial. So as we said, Buffalo Scholastic and Our Lady of Mercy High School, with the top 2 times just 3 seconds apart. 15 seconds ahead of the next placing Buffalo Seminary, so they've got a little bit of that underdog chip on their shoulder. Next, Nichols School finished just 20 seconds back off of that Buffalo Seminary, within a second of Wappingers Crew Club. So they'll have quite the battle on paper. We'll see how it plays out in real time. Let's see. Time check, 2:01. This race was supposed to start a minute ago.
And if you're joining us now, welcome to New York State Championships here in Saratoga Springs. Just a little recap.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Kate.
We're Orion athletes here. We train here every day. We know this body of water like the back of our hand, and Orion is our senior team high performance group. So we are all training to try to make the United States Olympic team. And so we're going to give you our color commentary as we both rode in high school, rode in college. We've been doing the sport
a bit. You know, we have some thoughts as to what we're seeing.
We've got some context as to what these athletes might be going through across all these different boat classes. Here's the girls' freshman 4 with a clean start. We've got 7 boats across. On the left is going to be Spack and Kill Rowing Club, currently powering through some really nice high strokes. Over there on the left side of our screen is going to be Buffalo Scholastic, Our Lady of Mercy High School. With the red coxswain's jacket, Buffalo Seminary. Black boat's going to be Nichols School. And then just trailing, we have Wappingers Crew Club and Rhinebeck High School. Awesome to see the strength of the state of New York here. We've got 4 boats across level, Kate.
Level.
And they're almost 250 in.
You know, I got to say, that takes skill to do. Even during steady state, I doubt you could get 4 fours to
go the same
that
speed.
Even. Yeah.
Right. So Nichols School here with the black boat. The red stripe of Buffalo Seminary. Seems to be a charge from Our Lady of Mercy High School. They're currently sitting half a seat up. So that bow seat sitting on the coxswain's head there. Not actually, but, you know, relationally. Then Buffalo Scholastic sitting just about 2 seats up. Their stroke seat currently sitting on the coxswain seat of the leading Our Lady of Mercy. Nichols School currently making a charge against Buffalo Seminary. It's getting a little breezy down here at the finish line. This wind is picking up just a bit in the athletes' favor, so to speak, as the times might be fast, but As you can see, we do have a head current, so the water is getting churned up just a bit. We'll see how these athletes can handle it. Tapping down just a little bit. And watch out from this surge from Buffalo Scholastic. That kind of move right before the 500, propelling them into a fairly strong position for that middle 500.
Now it's to see if anyone can respond to that move that Buffalo just posted.
And this is the girls' freshman Coxed 4 event. So these athletes, all first years in high school, a lot of rowing left in their careers ahead of them. We'll see what these athletes can learn from this experience too, seeing if they can not only have power 10s, but maybe even just setting new standards. So anytime you're able to go a little bit faster, can you just maintain that new speed?
Yeah, Hannah, I think you're spot on. You know, being this young, doing this sport, you're learning every single race. So I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of these crews learned something this morning from the time trial and are maybe trying to apply that here in this race.
Coxon has a fabulous hat on. I'm obsessed. Okay.
Style
Buffalo
points,
Scholastic winning style points and currently surging their bow ball ahead. Again, these athletes do have a bit of peripheral vision going on here that helps inform them external motivation-wise. So we have Buffalo Scholastic currently sitting almost 4 seats up, maybe 3 seats up on the field. And so that bow seat has open water beside her. Oftentimes you'll hear athletes maybe joke, maybe seriously scream bow ball when they're next to the bow ball of the other boat.
I mean, Hannah, what did you feel when you would hear bow ball from one of your teammates?
Well, okay,
Describe
so I
the
say
emotions.
Jokingly because it's a bold thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because basically you say it because you have so much of an advantage that you're not just an inch ahead. You're a full
like bow
deck ahead. And so that's a pretty convincing margin. And when you have the bow ball, that means not only do you see your competitors in your peripheral vision, you can just see them straight ahead of you. You're that far ahead facing backwards.
Well, I feel like the bow ball call is not only to help, you know, kind of rouse your teammates to say, hey, we're walking, but also it can be a challenge to that crew who you're walking.
I've gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And sometimes it bites you in the butt, right? And the crew
it's
will
true.
respond.
It can rile up the other crew. It's true. Because it's a pretty cocky move to shout bow ball. We can't sugarcoat it. Buffalo Scholastic and Buffalo Seminary, 2 schools out of Buffalo, duking it out here. Really awesome surge from Buffalo Seminary. Where did that come from? I'll have what they're having, please. That coxswain sitting up, looking over, giving their athletes all of the intel that they need. They know that they just had a really great move, and they've got momentum on their side. Can they keep it going? It's a matter of surging versus pushing the pace, and you want to make sure that you're racing as consistently as possible because that's going to be the more competitive component of a race strategy here.
And I got to say, Hannah, I think your comment earlier about sometimes it's just the crew that wants it more, right?
Holy moly.
We have Buffalo Scholastic here on the end. I would argue that they're rowing a little bit cleaner here than Buffalo Seminary, but it seems like Buffalo Seminary is just pulling ahead. They are just hauling on it.
You can see it in the body language. Sometimes we want our athletes just to stay composed and kind of row smoothly. But as we see here, these athletes from Buffalo Seminary, I can tell that they want it. They're just moving and grooving.
And the angle here can make it hard. I'm not actually going to call
I think they're still even. They're definitely still even. That coxswain looking over. She's sitting up a bit, trying to get a better vantage point because it's that helpful to the athletes to know what's going on. Looks like a really strong surge from Buffalo Scholastic. They had a really nice step there with about 15 strokes to go. The sprint can be a long time. It can be like betting. You're doing a risky bet by starting your sprint early because you got to be able to maintain that speed. You don't want to empty the tank too soon. It looks like Buffalo Seminary just running out of steam a little bit. We'll see if they can hold on to that second place position, as Buffalo Scholastic is going to take the gold here in the girls' freshman Coxed 4 grand final. Congratulations, all crews. What a race for those first 3 positions.
And here coming up third, we have Our Lady of Mercy.
And remember, this was 4 boats across there for the whole first 500, Kate.
Yep. I mean, these athletes are going to be
gutsy racing
after this. And, you know, what a great experience to have as a freshman, right? Like, that
oh
will
my
be
gosh.
teaching them.
To have 4 boats across level for a whole 500.
Yeah. I mean, to have that early on in your career, I mean, I know, some athletes don't get that till you're a junior or a senior to be able to be in a race.
Maybe even until college.
Yep.
There's lane 5. Nichols School crossing the line for 4th place. Here comes lane 4, Wappingers Crew Club. Nice job. Great acceleration through the sprint. Well rode to Rhinebeck High School there. And Spackenkill as well. That will tie up the girls' freshman Coxed 4 grand final. And we're already going back up to the start, but here are the times from the last race, the girls U17 Junior 8 grand final.
And we had that very close finish between Burnt Hills.
That was tight.
And Cascadilla here with both posting a time of 5:20.
What a dominant performance. That's a fast time, Kate.
.2. That is a fast time. 4:51.
Those are fast times. Well done. The next race is the girls 2v8. So we're going from 4s to 8s, double the people, double the oars. Coxswains are now sitting in the stern of the boat, so you see them sitting up facing that stroke seat. Oftentimes, especially at the high school level, that can be an awkward thing to navigate. Where are you supposed to look? You're supposed to look them in the eyes? You're supposed to look over their head? What if they're tall? What if they have a short torso? There's so many things.
That cox and stroke relationship, that's important.
Sometimes it's a really close bond between those two athletes.
Completely. I mean, you've got the stroke who's kind of the leading rower in the boat, right? They're setting rhythm, they're setting pace. And the coxswain there is the leader of the boat. They're giving instruction to everybody. So
sometimes they have secret codes.
That's true. That's true. Having a tight bond
like to shift down a beat. You can have a secret code for that. You can have a code to do a power 10 or something. Like you need to surge. That stroke seat wants to be competitive. Yep. But we've got Royal America Rye, Port, Saratoga A, Saratoga B, Fayetteville Manlius, City Island, and St. Anthony's High School, all in this 2v8 grand final. A little hard to tell how the race has played out through that first half of the race here. We're approaching the last 500 fast and furiously. Looks like Saratoga in a strong position here. Again, these are all seeded from the morning's time trials. Royal America Rye posted a 4:55 this morning. Port for 5:18. Saratoga A 5:20 and Saratoga B 5:27. So the fight for those gold, silver, and bronze medals will be hotly contested. Looks like Saratoga A holding their seed over Saratoga B. And after that, it's a bit tough to say from the finish line.
Yeah, I might have to wait till we get a better angle here of all these boats coming through.
But just to orient you, if you're looking for your loved one on the screen, Saratoga's got those cheved blades. City or Fayetteville Manlius is the green. City Island is over there with the pink visors, and over there on the far left for our heat sheet on the right of your screen is St. Anthony's High School. Here comes Port into our frame of view,
so
and
here all the way,
Royal America Rye.
All the way on your left, yeah, there's Royal America Rye here.
So Port just a little bit down on Royal America Rye.
In first place.
They did post a time that was over 20 seconds faster, so very much favored to win here is Royal America Rye. A lot of power braids here, power buns in the stern for Royal America Rye. Really strong acceleration here as they come into the red buoys. You can see that effort in their body language here. It looks like Friends of Port also doing well, pushing on that Saratoga A entry is really nice job racing. Here's City Island and St. Anthony's. Going bow ball to bow ball here. Those coxswains just looking over at one another. Ooh, we got some steering issues.
Those athletes are going to feel that. They're going to feel the
St. Anthony's is in their space.
I wonder if they're going to get a flag from the official for that. And here we have Royal America Rye passing the finish line with a commanding lead over the rest of the field.
Spicy.
Spicy, yes.
It was like 6 lengths of open water. Well run, well rode from Royal America Rye.
And here coming up,
Port
we actually have a
Saratoga.
fight, I think, for second place here once
Saratoga surgeon. They're on the move.
But yep, I think it will be.
That bow seat knows.
Saratoga.
Ava Voorhees knows. Oh, her hand is in the air. Let's go. Nice racing. There's Saratoga B for 4th place. Nice job. Oh my gosh, these eights races go by so quickly.
They go by so fast. And look, this back of the pack here is close as well. We have
Fayetteville Manlius in green.
St. Anthony's and not Wappingers.
And
St.
City
Anthony's
Island.
and City Island, I'm sorry. In the
Nice
distinctive
job.
pink boat.
1500 can be so fast and furious, especially compared to the 2K. Some of the 2K racing that we did in the 8s 2 weeks ago at the Saratoga Invite.
Yeah, I mean, these 8s races with the 1500 and a tailwind, it is truly fast and furious. I think, some of the athletes is just holding on, right?
Coming up, we've got the girls' Varsity 8 petite final. So the B final will just have 3 crews, just 3. Oftentimes you'll see most rowing, especially in the regular season, is 2, 3, maybe 4 boats across if you're getting a full house. Here in Saratoga, the norm is 9, sometimes 10.
We like to keep it a little spicy.
We like to have more friends. More friends, please. The more the merrier is our MO. Bayshore High School, Fairport Crew Club, and Kellenberg Memorial will be racing here for the spots 10 through 11. No, 10 through 12. I can do math. It's been a long day. So just 3 boats here in this race.
And it looks like they have not started them yet. We're still locking onto stake boats here.
Okay, what you volunteered this morning? What's the T over in Food Tent Land?
What's the T? Well,
what's the
Food
T?
Tent Land is a special place, let me tell you. An essential place for both parents and athletes, right?
I mean, you got to eat.
You got to eat, especially for the athletes. You got to eat. So
the parents got to be happy too. Hangry.
I mean, look, your support system is
a real thing.
crucial to be able to have these athletes perform at the level that they do. So, yeah, I mean, parents over there chefing it up. I was lucky enough to have been handed a egg and cheese and bacon sandwich from some kind parents over there.
Tell me more about this egg and cheese sandwich.
Oh, Hannah, it was delicious. It was the best one I've eaten all weekend. Shout out to Fordham Prep for the sandwich.
Another team gave you the sandwich.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was that's
how
what I'm saying.
generous.
These very generous. These parents are kind.
Which program was it?
Fordham Prep.
Wow, shout out to Fordham Prep.
Yeah.
Generosity.
Yeah, you didn't.
It's like innovation that excites, but I want to say generosity that excites.
But it's been a couple of programs who have been really kind to the volunteers over there. But yeah, I mean, you've got some serious operations going back out of the food tents. You've got full grill setups.
I was going to say, what's the most impressive?
Multiple grills. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it varies, obviously from team to team. But you've got a few who are really pulling out all the stops for this. You've got, kind of grab and go snacks for our athletes, fruit, a full buffet, if you will. Yeah. Buffet.
Wow.
So shout out to the parents who really, I think, do an instrumental part in making sure that the athletes have the experience.
Weather.
Yeah.
Maybe cold up here.
A little
in
windy.
Saratoga.
Time to time, but that's just kind of
classic.
comes with the territory of spring racing.
We all know there are 3 stages of winter. The last one goes until April. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just the territory. Makes us tough. You know?
It likes to trick you too. You think you're over.
Oh, you'll have one 70-degree day.
And then it will plunge you back in to like the 40s.
The next morning, it's 29 degrees. It's all fine. It's all fine.
We're just enjoying the seasons here.
So we should have this air streaming stopped. Do we have internet? I'm on it.
Okay, so the next race coming up here is the girls' Varsity 8 final.
service I get. Oh, I don't even have Wi-Fi on here. And we have the next race underway here. The girls' Varsity 8 Grand Final. We've got 9 boats across: Row America Rye, Saratoga, Port, City Island, West Side, Row New York, St. Anthony's, Fayetteville Manlius, and Wappingers. Full scope of different programs here representing the great state of New York. Had some really fast times here in the morning. Row America Rye posted a 4:48. Saratoga closely followed, just about 10 seconds behind at 5 flat, followed by Port 5:02, City Island 5:09, and then West Side and Row New York 5:18, 5:19, and St. Anthony's and Fayetteville Manlius Wappingers in the low 5:20s, low 5:30s. So it should be exciting duels going on all through this 9-boat race. We do have a little bit of a trailing crew in the middle, maybe a digger or boat stopping crab that kind of took them out of their rhythm for enough moments for the rest of the pack to run away from them. We'll see if they can claw their way back into the mix as this race unfolds. We're already about 500 meters into the race. We got 1K to go. Should be about 4 minutes or less. Again, we've got a tailwind condition. It's a beautiful day here on Fish Creek. Been fast times all around. Row America Rye currently sitting 7 seats up on Saratoga. Saratoga currently sitting about 8 seats up on Port. So a little bit more than that 2-second margin they had in the time trial. We'll see how these boats last through the more endurance part of the race. Great shot of the caliber of rowing here in the girls' Varsity 8 Grand Final here of New York State. Awesome acceleration here. You can see the hips just opening up. A lot of people think that swing comes mostly from the shoulders, but the power down low from the hips and the extension of the legs showcased by Row America Rye and Saratoga here as we pan through the field. And then it's just the finesse of the arm draw. Really exciting to see those blades coming out nice and clean. Again, there we got in view Friends of Port. And we've got quite an interesting race going on outside of medal contention, but City Island, West Side, Row New York, St. Anthony's, Fayetteville Manlius, and Wappingers here coming into full view. Got a lot of athletes, a lot of coxswains here jockeying for position. This Saratoga boat is making quite the surge. They were just 7 seats up. Now they've got about open water on Port. Row America Rye trying to get open water on Saratoga as well. They've got like 3 seats maybe at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, again, hard to tell from this angle, but definitely a lead.
Row America Rye has had a really dominant season. One of the top crews in the country. Saratoga trying to punch their ticket here as well, trying to go on to the Youth National Championship. Really exciting to see this kind of racing here in New York State. We've got quite that battle there That's 8, 7, 6, 5 on the right. So 3, 2, and 1. So that's going to be Fayetteville, Manlius, St. Anthony's, and Roe, New York. From our vantage point above, hard to make out the colors, and the bow numbers especially hard. So trying to use our lane positions here to give you this race as it unfolds. Saratoga maintaining open water lead over Port. Over there for second place, Roe America Rye has extended their lead out to about 2 lengths of open. City Island currently sitting in 4th.
Oh, and as these athletes come to the line, they'll be able to hear the crowd cheering for them. And this Roe America Rye boat is looking strong and together. Most importantly, together.
They're taking advantage of that tailwind.
Yeah,
they are flying.
Just cruising with it.
We have on our finish line here the entire Saratoga junior squad that's not currently racing is cheering bloody murder
I hope
on the
that,
finish
I hope
line.
that dock doesn't sink. They're
It's
all there
sinking.
just
Roe
screaming.
America Rye taking their last 5 strokes, making it look especially impressive here through the finish line.
And coming up on second, we have our Saratoga boat here.
They've opened that lead up to
Man, that
almost a
looks fierce.
full
You
length
can just
of open.
See them hauling on it.
Really strong
See the power.
racing here from Saratoga Springs, New York.
And in third,
That's Port.
it looks like it'll be Port rowing.
A lot of separation here in the girls' varsity 8. Here comes City
Yeah, I
Island.
would not have expected that, especially
We've got,
considering
again,
the tail,
moves being made,
But yeah.
right?
Yep,
Like, it's
statements being
hard.
made.
It's hard to question a statement when you're 2 lengths
Although I gotta
up.
say, these 3 boats coming, there's quite a bit of overlap between these 3 here coming to the line.
So I believe that's going to be Fayetteville, Manlius, St. Anthony's, and Roe, New York coming in for those next 3 spots.
And then we'll have Wappingers here.
Not in that order. We'll check back for the
coming
official
in
times.
with, I believe that's West Side. Finishing off this girls varsity 8 final.
What a race.
Fast and Furious seems to be the name of the game here.
So Roe America Rye able to maintain that lead. Maybe not 12 seconds. We'll get the official times to you when we have them. And Saratoga will be also able to improve here. They only had a 2-second faster time than Port, and they were able to win by 4, maybe a full length of open.
Yeah, I'd say maybe even more than that. Yeah.
Go back to the video review. We already have our next race underway to get back on schedule. The girls' freshman novice quad coming down to hear their name through the finish line.
7-boat race.
Niskayuna, Shen, Roe, New York, Poughkeepsie, Burnt Hills, Brighton, and Shaker. Woohoo! So these athletes all raced this morning in the time trial. 6:03 posted by Niskayuna. 6:12 for Shen, so 9 seconds back. 4 seconds back from them was Roe, New York. Shout out to Roe, New York, whose mission is to expand access to the sport of rowing in the boroughs down in the big city.
Yep, very mission-driven team, and it's great to see them out here for states.
I believe this is going to be Niskayuna. Beautiful Philippi rowing shell. Niskayuna, run by our lovely Stacy Applebaum.
Yep, she coaches up here at Orion as well.
She's the reigning champion in the women's lightweight 8.
You know, that is a good story, Hannah. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Stacy was the coxswain for the one and only women's lightweight 8 at a world championship. So the senior national team, it's often been a struggle to get those lightweight events at the international stage, especially for the women's athletes, especially as we've only started to reach parity in the last 10 years.
Maybe even less than that, but yeah, and you know, even now
But they won.
Phasing out. They did. USA won.
Lightweight women's 8.
The only time that the women's lightweight 8 has been raced at a world championships.
And
the
now
USA won, and Stacy was that coxswain.
That coxswain is now coaching in New York State, Niskayuna, and also coaching for the Orion program here in Saratoga Springs, and they're currently in the lead.
Shout out to Stacy. But looking back
Next
here at the race,
lanes
we
5
have
and
got
7. So
is that
Poughkeepsie
up?
and Friends of Shen currently duking it out. This is the girls' freshman novice quad.
And
No
I gotta
coxswain.
say, bold move with the hair down for stroke here.
I would agree.
I respect.
But the beauty of a tailwind, Kate.
Oh, yeah, you can rock it.
You
I mean,
can
if it was
rock
a
the hair
headwind,
down.
that would be a
It might
potential issue.
be hard to see.
But again, if you're stroked, do you really need to see?
But we're getting the Beyonce effect. We've got the wind blowing through our hair. We're feeling good.
And so on our screen here, we can see up in that left-hand corner, we've got Niskayuna rowing.
Now
the
out of
lead.
picture because they're so far ahead. Go Niski. Then here on the bottom of your screen, you got Shaker. Believe they're borrowing the Saratoga blades, so that's a little confusing for a moment, but we figured it out.
And here, duking up for second and third, it looks like we have
Still Poughkeepsie and Shen.
Poughkeepsie and Shen, yes.
So then trailing, we've got Row, New York, Burnt Hills, and Brighton. Let's see if we can pan to them. Kate, I'm counting, and I only have 6 boats. We should have 7. I know. Let's figure
It's
it
only
out.
mildly concerning.
Okay, so Niskayuna's up there. Speck of a boat that's so far ahead and already in their last 250. Then we got Poughkeepsie and Shen. Shen currently in our beautiful drone shot. No Coxed in here, so these athletes have no idea where Niskayuna is. It's almost impossible to turn over their shoulders to see them, but they can see Poughkeepsie next to them. So focusing on the race at hand, the sparring partner
Pushing up
that's
those other crews that are
right
next to
there
you.
with you.
Yep.
There's Shaker coming into their last 250.
You know, I gotta say, I'm impressed so far in this regatta that we haven't seen more steering issues than we have just because of the wind. It can make things a little finicky on the course.
That's true. Row, New York currently sitting in a very close 5th place, just 2 seats down on Shaker. We'll see which crew has a better sprint for 4th and 5th. Niskayuna coming into their last 20 strokes here. Got a lot of fans and teammates here on shore cheering them on. A little bit of a bobble there. Again, the water does get probably its worst in the last 500, Kate.
I would agree, particularly
At
in the
this
tail.
point, in this point in the day,
Yeah, I
we've
think
got a lot
the
of
last 500
build-up
is
going
probably the
on the
worst spot.
water.
Which
So
means for these races, it's helpful to
especially
go
tough,
early.
right.
It's helpful to go early so you get the better water to make your push.
And you're super tired. Of course, that's when the water's the worst. Sorry. Challenge mode.
But who doesn't love a good challenge?
And look at Shen able to pull away in their last 250. Poughkeepsie and Shen were duking it out all race. Shen able to rise above the fray here and secure 2nd place in this girls' freshman novice quad grand final. There's Poughkeepsie across the line. And it's going to be close between Row, New York and Shaker. Uh-oh, bow
But it
seat
looks
stopped
like,
early.
Oh,
no, a crab.
But they still make it.
Holy moly.
That was dramatic.
Fun fact about the Saratoga race course, it's actually those red and yellow buoys, not the big red buoys. It's a fun fact. It's unusual.
It is a fun fact. But
We play tricks
as
with
any
you.
good rower knows, you only stop when you hit the big red buoy.
True.
Keep going to the end.
Here comes lane 4, Burnt Hills. Well rowed, congratulations on your season.
Man, I gotta say, that was lucky. Row New York there.
Oh
Just
my
making it
gosh.
across the line with that digger.
And that's why, you gotta go as hard as you can.
Because you never know. The other team
You
could
never know. Here comes
or
lane
could
2.
pop out, could catch a crab. You gotta be
Born to
in
Run.
position to take
Love that
advantage
boat
of
name.
opportunities.
Brighton Rowing Club finishing there. And we'll go back up to the start for the next race. Girls U15 Coxed Quad Final. Just like that, kid, I can't scroll down anymore on Streamline. The end is nearing. It's 2:40
The
p.m.
end is nigh. We have about an hour left here of racing at New York State Champs.
Here's the U15 quads getting underway. They're in those high strokes here, can be fast and exciting. You can see Saratoga here in the forefront of our screens. Rocking a mix of the uni and the classic Saratoga rowing t-shirt.
And these boats are still tight here in this first 500.
So again, we've got a lot of Saratoga boats in this race. This is Saratoga C, Saratoga A, Saratoga B, Niskayuna A, Saratoga D, Saratoga E, and Niskayuna B.
So this is a Niskay-Saratoga matchup.
It's an upstate Capital Region party. You're all invited to watch as it unfolds here. Awesome racing here so far. We're just about halfway through this race. Kate, let's talk about what it's like to race with teammates. It can be quite challenging to spar with people that you practice with every day. You kind of build
it's a
expectations, or you might say, oh, well, they win pieces every Thursday. So how am I going to win now on the state championship day? It can be
it's
a little daunting.
Game. Yeah, and I think that one of the other things with practicing with teammates is these people, they're your friends, right? You want to root for them, but if you're in the boat next to them, you also want to beat them. So it's this delicate balance of, you know, I want good things for you, I care for you, you're my friend, but also I want to win, and I also want good things for me. So it's a delicate balance to toe, and I think a lot of it comes down to respect, right? Respect for your teammates, respect for your competitor, and knowing that, you know, whoever comes out on top on that day,
right,
you both gave it your all, and you helped each other to push to that next level.
And here we have a lot of sparring going on. That's lanes 8 and 7 of the Saratoga entries. So that's Saratoga C and Saratoga A going stroke for stroke here. Saratoga A having a really strong push here. They're about 4 seats up. Again, the coxswains in these boats mostly are tucked down in the bows of the boat, so they're unable to see behind them really at all. They can't see the blades of their athletes. They can't see the bodies of their athletes, and that's a challenge to be able to go off feel and try to help their athletes navigate the race unfolding around them. There's another Saratoga boat. That one is lane 6, I think. So that's going to be Saratoga B, currently a few lengths down on the current front runners. Watch out. Look at this drone shot. Beautiful day here on Fish Creek. Got a little boat stopping crab there in the middle, I think from our Niskayuna entry. Yeah, that's Niskayuna A with the boat stopping crab. The officials there with them for safety. And we'll just kind of follow as this race unfolds between Saratoga A, current leader, sitting stroke seat on bow ball, just about open water. Saratoga C currently sitting in second place. And then 2 to 3 lengths back, we have Saratoga B. We keep panning over. Niskayuna had a boat stopping crab, so they're currently out of the frame. But Saratoga D and Saratoga E certainly interesting here. Saratoga E currently sitting about bow to stern up on Saratoga D, and Niskayuna B currently trailing here that pack of Saratoga boats just by a length. Good, and as they come towards the finish, we'll have a lot of Saratoga fans here on the finish line shore. A lot of cowbells.
A lot of cowbells. And it's funny, you know, looking over here, that drone shot, one question I know I had when I was racing in high school is, you know, how does the launch really decide who to follow and get close to, right? Because as you're seeing here,
there's a whole training protocol.
There's a whole training, right? You don't want to wake out other crews.
It takes years, actually, to become an official.
It does, yes. Yes.
So these officials go through a lot of training, making sure that they know how to best monitor the race as it unfolds.
But it's tricky because you want to be able to follow those top crews in case of any problems or...
Right, so sometimes athletes will come off the water and talk about the wake from the launch.
No, breakage, yeah.
It used to be a thing on Reddit, Pass by Launch, PBL. So it's you're not alone in this experience. You get far enough down on the leading crews, and that launch is going to follow the pack as it
heads towards the finish line.
Yeah, because it is a safety thing. So here we have Saratoga
A.
A
They
crossing the line
hold
first.
their A seed, but super easy. We've got a little bit of timing issue over here from our lane 8, Row New York. They posted the fastest time of the time trial, so they've got quite good internal motivation. They won that time trial by 8 seconds, Kate. So we'll see if
small measure.
we'll see if they can make up that slight bobble that they had off their first 5, as this field is running away from them. But we've seen throughout the day, it doesn't have to be the best start of the field to get the best overall time. So we have current front runners in lanes 4 and 5. So lanes 8 are on the left,
and it looks like
lane
we're
0
kind of
on the right.
seeing some like 2 distinct packs here coming out within this first
Kind of
500.
visually pleasing, I'm not going to lie. But we have Oyster Bay, St. Anthony's, Port, and City Honors there on the left. That left clump from left to right. And then this right clump of 5 crews is going to be Emma Willard, Buffalo Seminary, Cascadilla, Mount St. Mary's. We have 10 boats in this race, Kate.
That's a lot of boats.
Who are you? I don't know who this is. You know what? Maybe we added someone in lane 9. Because that's Row New York passing us here. So that, okay, I miscalled it. But it's not my fault because no one told me that we had 10 boats in this race. So Row New York, Oyster Bay, St. Anthony's, and Port are those current front runners. And then City Honors, Emma Willard, Buffalo Seminary, and Cascadilla, and Mount St. Mary's are the ones in that second pack. Hot takes, we added another boat. And no one told us.
Surprises can happen. We got to be ready for anything.
It's true. You can see a lot of port stroke boats here, but shout out to, let's see, who would have a red boat? Buffalo Seminary, maybe? Whoever is starboard stroked here, shout out to you. Starboards can stroke too. A lot of people don't think it. A lot of people think only ports can stroke.
Nope. Anybody can stroke.
And especially novices, because basically all novices can row both sides.
Same way that, Ratatouille, anybody can cook, anybody can stroke.
Boom. All right, so we got 10 boats here. Row New York here on the left leading, followed very closely behind by Oyster Bay. 2 schools from the southern part of the state of New York. And then it's anybody's game here for St. Anthony's, Port, City Honors, and Emma Willard is also in that mix as well with Buffalo Seminary. Here are your 2 front runners again. Row New York sitting 4 seats up on Oyster Bay. Really nice finish rhythm there. You can
they're
see
making it look easy.
that handles away, super fluid. And you'll notice the handle goes very close to the knees. So it's really important, especially, you know what, I'm still rowing and I am still thinking about this, to get the handle out ahead of your knees so that you don't crash your handle down on your knees as the
or
knees
your
rise
knees
up.
come up and hit your handle,
Right? You can nick your knees with your thumbnails. It can be quite painful. You can bruise your knees.
You can even make it so you like catch a crab or like ding your blade on the water if your knees come up.
So really
Far too
awesome
much.
to see these Row New York athletes able to get those quick hands away, body set all together, and then the knees come up in that order. Really nice sequencing, and you can tell it's paying off. The speed of the boat is just cruising between each of those drives. Row New York lengthening their lead to open water here.
And Oyster Bay isn't out of it there. They are still keeping their nose in the game. A little bit of overlap
But
there with
it's
the
tough
decks.
in rowing when you're down that much.
Yeah, you can see
Those
right now.
athletes
Yeah, they're
can't see the
Row New
other
York
boat.
is getting a little bit of spacing here, pulling away.
If you're just joining us, we're in the midst of the girls Novice 4 with Coxed Grand Final. Row New York here, center of our screen, coming from down in the big city, representing the boroughs here with the mission of making rowing more accessible. We love having you here at New York State Championship, and we love watching you row. You guys are crushing it right now. They've lengthened their lead to almost a length of open.
Open, yep.
Whatever you're having in that third 500, I'll have it.
I want some.
I want some. I want some speed. Thank you. Really nice catches here, especially as these athletes fatigue. I think it's more and more impressive, the technical patterns that we see from the athletes.
Coming into this last 250, things can really fall apart if you're not on yourself to make sure that you're rowing.
You gotta
the best of your abilities, even though you
throw the kitchen sink, but make it look good.
Right. Acknowledge the pain.
Good. Oyster Bay trying to hold off a charging field behind them. It looks like we got in third place, maybe St. Anthony's, I want to say, is that next trailing crew. But, a boat stopping crab from Port. Oh, no. We'll see if they can gather it back together or if it's too far gone.
Okay, the launch is there assessing.
As long as they can regain control on their own, they can finish the race. If the official has to help in any way, it'll be a did not finish. So Port trying to regain composure as the rest of the race continues on.
And here we have
City Honors and Emma Willard pushing on
across the line. Right here to take first place in this girls novice 4 final.
What a sprint. They had a strong second half, Row New York.
They did.
Oyster Bay lengthening out here, hanging tough.
And then coming up here on third place, is that
Lane
St. Anthony's?
St. Anthony's.
Yep.
With fabulous hairdos. Holy moly. Next, lane 4. And lane 3. I think that's going to be City Honors and Emma Willard.
Yep. And then it looks like Port was able to regain.
Port able to do it. Well done, Port. Here we go.
Shout out to those girls for getting it back together after catching that crab.
Buffalo Seminary coming next. And here comes Cascadilla and Mount St. Mary's to wrap up this girls novice 4 grand final. So that was Mount St. Mary's just over Cascadilla. Congratulations all crews on an awesome season. So we've had a lot of girls racing. We're going to switch it up for the next 4 races and go back to some boys junior programs. Here's the race from the girls U15 Coxed quad final. It was basically a Saratoga-Niskayuna party. Well done, all crews. The next race is the boys junior U17 double petite final. So we got 9 boats across here. We'll give them to you across the line. We should have Port Jefferson B here closest to us. I believe that's them. Mohawk Homeschool, Buffalo Scholastic, Long Island Rowing, Saratoga B, Canisius High School, Fordham Prep, Canisius B, and Niskayuna B. Quite the field here. Again, 9 boats across. Really awesome to see so many boats kind of getting in contention for different racing opportunities. Obviously, everyone's focus is on winning the race or coming in a competitive top 3. But really, we can define our own success here at the state championships. We're all growth mindset people.
That's true. I mean, you never know what people's individual or boat goals are.
I might just have the goal to row with straight arms at the catch every stroke. And if I can do that,
I would give you so many gold stars.
I've been working on that. But these athletes all coming in with different goals here. So a mixture of internal goals and external goals, trying to stay competitive in the field, but also trying to become better versions of ourselves in the process. So again, we have 9 boats across in this boys junior U17 double petite final. So this is the second final.
Looks like we're looking at lane 3 and lane 2 here, which is Canisius and Fordham.
And we're panning up in our high lanes. We are seated from the morning's time trial, so Port Jefferson B favored to win here. In the high lane of lane 8, followed by Mohawk Homeschool, BSRA, Long Island, Saratoga, and Canisius. Saratoga B, sorry. But we'll see as they come into this last 500. They're approaching the last 250 fast and furious. We'll see what kind of sprints these boys junior doubles can muster here. Long weekend, New York State Championship 2023. The double's super fun because it only takes that much less melding as opposed to the 8s that we've been seeing, the 4s that we've been seeing.
Yep.
If you and another person can get on the same page, you can go fast.
It's just you and them. Just gel it. It's a lot easier. Here we're seeing these boys' fours come through in lane 4 here. Looks like we've got Saratoga trying to define that lead ahead of lane 3, which is Canisius. And so interesting, our high lanes, which usually you'll find the faster crews in,
seem to be outtaken.
Are not really in the picture right now. We've got Saratoga, which is lane 4.
Making a statement out here.
Cruising here to a finish. You know, the double is one of those boats where, again, because it's only 2 people, if you decide to go, you can go. So, you know, it's not quite as unpredictable as a single, but
a crab.
Things can happen.
Oh,
Unexpected things can happen.
Oh, bring it together. Bring it together. Build it back up. Holy smokes.
So
That's exciting.
Are they gonna, oh my God, are they gonna get passed by this other crew? I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. See, it is still unpredictable.
Help.
Are you unwell, Hannah?
I am unwell watching that unfold. That was so exciting and stressful and terrible and awesome at the same time.
Finish at a rowing race.
Go to streamlinerowing.com for the official results. We'll bring them to you after the next race. But I was too close to call. I heard 1 beep.
That gave me stress. I'm not going to lie. That gave me some stress, some panic.
Well, now we will not crab with 2 strokes to go. That is
you say that, but you never know.
That's my very emotionally charged motivation. Never do that again. Well rowed, and you know it takes
well-rowed race,
and it's hard. You know, like we see that happen, like frequently. I would say is those last 5 strokes is often, or the last 250 when the intensity comes up. You're sprinting, you're trying to empty the tank, but rowing is a super technical sport, and so you can empty the tank, but you still have to maintain control.
Well, and a lot of that
comes
down to the muscle memory, right? So how long have you been doing this? So you see that less when you get into crews that are older, collegiate, post-collegiate, what have you. But you know, when you get down to that last 250, you were putting all you've got into that footboard, into those handles. So you know, there's not a lot of room in your brain to be thinking about all these technical aspects of the sport that you're trying to master. So
as a aspiring senior team rower, my last 5 strokes, all I'm thinking is clean. Well,
see, that's Hannah, that's growth.
How do I
I wonder if high school Hannah would have been thinking the same thing. You know?
Maybe. It was a
right, so
you're
learning. Ago. You're learning every day. I guaranteed anybody who caught any crab during this race,
now
it might have sucked
clean,
but you probably learned.
Here's the grand final of this event, the boys junior U17 double grand final. Saratoga A on the left, currently, I would say, in a strong position, maybe even in the lead, followed by Manhasset there in lane 7, Shen in lane 6, Burnt Hills in lane 5, Manhasset B in lane 4, Albany in lane 3, Port Jefferson in lane 2, Shen B in lane 1, and Niskayuna in lane 0. Looks like we're missing a crew in lane 1. So that's going to be our Shen B entry. So if you're looking for them,
potential scratch. Perhaps.
They are not here. Saratoga like getting outpaced here in that shift to base by Manhasset High School.
And it doesn't look to be like there's a solid pack here of boats. Everyone's kind of in contact.
Just finding ourselves.
But going some different speeds here.
So Manhasset currently sitting in just about first place. Then we've got about 3 boats level. Saratoga maybe an inch down on Shen. And then 2 lanes over from Shen, we've got Albany Rowing Center with the blue deck. And just sitting about bow stern contact, 2 crews. Let's see.
And Manhasset seems to be really just kind of taking the lead and running with it here. They're extending their lead on Saratoga. to go for what looks like half a boat of open right now, if not more.
Yeah, really impressive performance here from Manhasset. Again, these are all seeded by the time trials of the morning. So Saratoga posted a 5:10 time trial, lonely out there, but then Manhasset posted 5:13 and Shen posted 5:16. Those three were the only ones to break 5:20 in the time trial. But as we can see, it's truly anyone's race here. Heats or time trials are just that, just time trials. It's a time on paper, and it earns you
not
this.
A race. You know, you're not next to your competitors.
The opportunity to race here in this grand final, and now the job is race the grand final, and Manhasset's doing just that here, lengthening out into even more dominant lead. The sport of rowing, we look backwards, we see when we're ahead, we can anticipate the moves of other crews as they try to catch back up and respond better, because they might be trying to surge, but they can't see how effective that surge is on a crew that's a length ahead.
That's where a lot of the trust comes in, right? You got to trust your fitness, trust your teammates.
Right. You've worked all season for this championship regatta.
And you know what? I'll go so far as to say, trust that it feels fast, right? So are you?
Oh, I feel good, and that means good things are happening. But basically, 6 boats across here for second place. As Manhasset is running away with it, maintaining about a half length, maybe almost a full length now on the next trailing crew. So again, Manhasset's there. Shen currently sitting in second place, hotly contested by Burnt Hills. Then 2 lanes over, we've got Albany with the blue deck. And just about 3 boats level here. Got Albany in that blue deck. So then 2 lanes over is going to be Shen B, I believe.
Yep, I think you're right.
Saratoga over there on the left. And in the middle is going to be Manhasset B. So cool to see a lot of depth here in this grand final. You can see kind of how close our A and B entries can be, and how the B entries can kind of spar with the A entries. You're all just boats out there. You're all just people. Doesn't matter.
Well, that's
what you
not
think
the problem,
you
but
can do.
definitely an element of these races, right? When you have an A and a B, it's the preconception.
Self-fulfilling prophecies.
They beat me in practice, but
Uh-oh, we're hitting buoys. We're hitting buoys there in our crew from Burnt Hills. Get off that buoy line. You'll have a much easier time.
Yeah, it's so funny for all our people here watching on the screen. The buoys look very small, but I gotta say, up close,
it's jarring.
It's unexpected when you hit one, and they are not. I mean, they may be small, but they are.
Here we go,
larger than you think, and
Manhasset taking their last 20 strokes here. Oh my gosh, we've been duped again, Kate. That's Saratoga. Saratoga is sitting in the lead.
Do we have some lane changes, perhaps?
Oh, I hate it when they do this to us.
Well, it looks like Saratoga is taking.
We added another lane 9.
They got to tell us these things. And looks like Manhasset here, coming in second, closely followed
by Shen.
By Shen for third.
Oh, our apologies, sincerely. A lane 9.
We have been calling it wrong. We did
Who
not know.
are you?
We were not informed.
Oh. I am as livid as you are, folks watching at home and on the Jumbotron.
I was emotionally invested one
so
way,
that's
and then
going
the
to
rug
be
got pulled out.
lane 0, Niskayuna. Just caught outside of that fray there, that very exciting pressure makes diamond scenario.
And here,
lane
bringing up
3.
the end of this boys junior.
That's our
U17
Albany
double
entry.
is
Albany Center entry. Oh, Kate, I want to rewatch that race and
recall it.
Yep. We were duped.
Yep, I'm with you.
There's the finish. Holy
So our
smokes.
previous petite final.
Saratoga just finished. So if you recall, if you were with us, Saratoga caught a heartbreaking crab right before the finish line. Not enough momentum to carry them across line first. They were sitting in first place.
And as you can see,
got
it did
out.
cost them that .1.
Oh, Heartbreak City.
Tragedy. And actually, look at that 1, 2, 3, all within a second of each other. That's pretty cool.
All right, I'm going to call someone who's at the start line to tell me if there's any more lane 9s getting last minute added.
Correctly inform the people here. And so looking at our screen now, this boys varsity double petite final race has started. I'm not going to call crews and lanes just yet until we've
okay, 1,
confirmed.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 boats in this race.
We've
there
got
are
9
not 10.
boats.
So that's good. This is not... Oh, yes, the boys varsity double petite final. So we should have Nichols on the left, then Canisius, Brighton, Roe Karai, Niskayuna, Oyster Bay, Cascadilla, Manhasset, and Shen all the way on the right. Early lead here coming from Nichols. And then it is a hotly contested battle.
Yeah, Hannah, that's a dogfight right there.
A barn burner, you might say.
7-4.
The hay is in the barn.
It is burning.
Here we go. So we have, again, that's Nichols currently leading by a length. Again, this is the double. The boat speeds are, in the small boats, can change a little bit more. So it's not like being down a length in the 8. Again, the boat's shorter for one thing. But
True.
the speeds are also more variable. So we'll stay on the edge of our seats here as this race unfolds. Anything is possible. Nichols School currently leading. Then we have a pack of Canisius, Brighton, and Roe Karai there on the left lanes. In the middle, Niskayuna making quite the statement here. Challenging even for first place here, trying to push a full length on the next cruise, the cruise next to them. On the right side,
they're finding that base and running with it.
We've got a pack as well, relentlessly holding bow ball to bow ball, Oyster Bay, Cascadilla, and Manhasset High School. And then on the far right, you have Shen just off the pace here. And a little bit of steering issue on that buoy line. Again, we can go over the buoys. It's not a huge deal, but we can also snag them if we time it just right in the wrong way. And that can be quite jarring to the athletes. It can be even boat stopping.
It looks here like Niski is really putting pressure on this Nichols School crew here.
And they've got no coxswain. Anything they want to know about where they are in the field, they have to ascertain themselves with a peek over their shoulder, which can distract from the rhythm of the boat.
Oh, Hannah, I'm just looking here. I think there's contact now between this Nichols crew.
I think you're right.
And this this Niski crew.
And they're already at 500 to go. Where does the time go?
Away from us.
It's going to be about who has the better sprint.
It.
And this is the boys' varsity double B final or petite final. We have the Nichols School on the left, Niskayuna on the right, and quite a relentless battle going on in between them for third. So those two leading, and then it looks like Canisius, Brighton, and Roe Karai are currently sparring with one another. I would say over there in the middle, Roe Karai having a stronger move through the 500. We'll see what these athletes can do in the last 250. Again, the water gets a little bouncy here in the last 500.
I'll see who's got that
who can stay clean.
Know-how.
Niskayuna on a charge.
They are not letting this one go.
But it doesn't look like Nichols is rolling over either. We'll see which of these two willpowers prevails in the boys' varsity double B final here in Saratoga Springs.
Well, it's interesting too here, looking at the kind of puddles that each crew makes. You can see the Nichols. There's a lot more white water, right? Their blades aren't coming out quite as clean as this Niski.
They're burying their blades pretty deep. I agree.
Which you know, it could hurt them. They're probably, you know, I'm sure both these crews are absolutely hauling on it, but in terms of the games of inches, that might
cost them. Niskayuna also just feeling that momentum. They feel good. They're picking the rate up. I see that shift there from Niskayuna. We'll see if Nichols can respond here.
I would say if they've come level now.
I would even give advantage to Niskayuna at this point. They are moving well.
Yeah, momentum is powerful.
We've seen it today. It's about whose oars are currently in the water, whose boat is surging or accelerating. A lot of white water.
They're coming to the line. I can't call this one, Hannah. I don't know. This is going to be close. Oh, and I think Niski got it.
Niskayuna got it by like half a second. And here's our tight battle between lanes 5 and 6. So that's going to be Roe Karai just over Brighton. And here comes Canisius just out of that fight.
Yep. Quickly followed by, who is that in the blue boat?
Oyster Bay.
Oyster Bay.
And that's lane 1 from 2 from Cascadilla. Here's lane 0, Shen. and Manhasset. Just like that.
Following up.
I feel like that doubles race was so fast it felt like an 8.
I'm telling you, Hannah, look at these times here. I mean, they're quick.
That is quick.
We have the times for the previous race.
So I'm so sorry that we called this incorrectly. In our defense, they've added a last-minute lane 9, so a 10th boat added to that grand final. So instead of our original calling, we had Saratoga winning with Manhasset High School in 2nd and Shen A in 3rd. Awesome race to watch. I just wish we had the right players on our minds.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
And we already have the boys varsity double grand final underway. So we just watched the petite final, which was quite the race between Niskayuna and Nichols. Now we have Oak Neck B, Long Island B, Oak Neck C, St. Joseph's, Long Island, Manhasset, Port Jefferson, and Port Jefferson B. Again, these races were all seeded by the time trial this morning. So interesting to see.
Look at trial times. We have.
Interesting to see how these time trials compare to the margins we'll see side by side.
We have Oak Neck Rowing Academy that came in 1st and 2nd in this time trial. Oak Neck A and B.
And those two are almost 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. So we have Long Island B and Oak Neck C coming in the next 2 places. We see them here on our screen, seeming to use the external motivation of side-by-side racing to their advantage here. Time trials are really tough because it's all internal. You can't really tell how fast you're going in the conditions you get.
And these 2 Oak Neck Academy boats just battling it out here. Like we talked about before in that singles race, they probably, they practice with each other every day. But, it's who's going to show up for race day and lay it down during the time that matters.
And Oak Neck C trying to get into that mix as well. So Long Island B entry there on the left side, just trailing slightly. And it's a really tight race on the right side of our screen as well. This might be one of the tighter 9-boat finals that we've seen, Kate. We're past the 500-meter buoy mark, almost about halfway through this race.
No one's dropped off. Everyone's in it.
And it's competitive all the way across. Even the front runners aren't that much farther ahead than I would say the full field is only separated by 2 lengths. Incredible from the boys varsity double here at the state championship.
I'm not surprised. The boys varsity double, it's a competitive event. Probably.
I love to see it. No, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Program,
I just love to see it.
It's great to see, yeah.
So over there on the right side of our screen, we have Port Jefferson B and A on the far 2 lanes, then Manhasset, Long Island, St. Joseph's next. And so we have Long Island currently trailing, the B entry trailing. They had a really nice performance this morning in the time trial, but seeming to get outpaced by these Oak Neck crews here. And again, you can see it's very windy here on Fish Creek. Hot take, I missed the B reel. It was 3 minutes ago, everyone. But we'll focus back on the race at hand. Sorry, getting notifications on my phone. Oak Neck A and B duking it out here. Oak Neck A, again, has that advantage. They're staring down the backs of their teammates here, trying to assert their dominance on the situation. Oak Neck C next. And then let's see. Oak Neck C is in lane 5. Trying to do some
coming
quick
to the
math.
250 here. Wow, these 2 Oak Neck boats,
Looks
stroke for stroke.
Long Island A and Port Jefferson are hauling on it here to try to challenge for 3rd place over Oak Neck C.
So it's almost like we got 2 races going on here. We've got a race for 1st. We've got a race for 3rd.
Will it be an Oak Neck day? 1, 2, and 3. Would be the best case scenario if you're a team Oak Neck, but holy heck, a surge from lane 7 Oak Neck B. I don't know if they have enough time.
I think A has got them to the line.
Oh, what a race between A and B from Oak Neck. Port Jefferson charging on Oak Neck C. Woo!
And I think it'll be Port Jefferson with the win there.
Wow, really tight finish.
And Oak Neck C.
That's lane 3. That's going to be our Long Island A entry. followed by lane 4, St. Joseph's, lane 2, Manhasset High School. Here comes a Long Island B. Fast and furious here on this afternoon session. Port Jefferson B across the line. Again, just like that.
Quick race, Hannah. If you blink, you'll miss it.
Tight margins.
So here's from our boys varsity double petite final.
Point
We had that
19.
close finish between Niski and Nichols.
Not the closest of the day.
Not
Again,
the closest of the day. This
the
is almost a
closest-
.2.
Closest of the day was .02. We challenged you earlier. If you missed it, I challenge you now. Take out your phone. Pull out the stopwatch app. Now, do a start, stop, or start lap if you prefer. .02.
Try and get .02. I'll bet you can't.
Basically
so
a
shout out to our
tie.
timers.
All right. Okay, we only have 2 races left.
This day is just flying
This
by.
regatta. New York State Championships 2023. Shout out to all the people that make it possible. From our regatta director, Christy Wagner, hosting it here at Fish Creek,
Mm-hmm.
to the volunteers, the
Yeah,
staff,
huge shout out to the volunteers for all your work.
the parents, 'cause you guys truly make it happen. The kids wouldn't get here without you. The volunteers make the regatta like logistically run.
Shout out to Scotty over there on the other side, making sure things run smoothly. Heidi, our parking volunteer, she's awesome. Props to her.
And many thanks to all of the vendors and everyone downtown that helped keep everybody entertained here. There's a lot to do, a
Having
lot to
fun.
see.
You know, regatta is, yeah, you're rowing, but it's also a time to come together,
Oh my gosh.
seeing lots of friends.
And coming off the tail end of the pandemic,
things to
we're still
do.
so grateful to be able to do this.
Man, in person
And on Mother's Day.
and on Mother's Day.
Thank you to the mothers.
I mean, look, I gotta say thank you to the mothers who are waiting here on the edge of a. It is a nice day, but there's lots of other ways to spend Mother's Day, and you're here watching the little ones race down the course. So kudos to all those moms standing on the riverbank.
Go treat yourself after this. If you haven't already, treat yourself more. Up next, we have the girls' freshman U16 8 grand final. So you'll see in rowing, we actually have more and more of this, the age category rowing. So it's a way to kind of level the playing field, encourage younger athlete development, and also just to kind of give competitive race experiences for our younger athletes. It's a great opportunity for the young athletes to kind of get a sense of what it's like to go toe-to-toe with similar athletes.
Yeah, because, you know, for all the practicing you do, it doesn't really compare to race day. It's hard to simulate that, you know, the nerves, all of the kind of the little things that you never have to do in practice, like, you know, using warm-up lanes, locking onto a stake boat, having your name called at the start, your school name, or your name if you're in a single.
And the freshman U16 8 is fun because,
Yeah.
I don't know, I remember being a freshman and I was lucky enough to go to school with a lot of the same classmates from, I think, 2nd grade onwards. I had the same classmates. And so you get to your
Unrelatable,
freshman.
but that does sound nice.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you go
yeah,
to
yeah.
a small school, a public school, and you have the same
Yeah.
classmates from
you see each
even
other
kindergarten,
grow. Yeah.
and then you get to this freshman category, and you get to kind of stay together as a squad and throw down
It's
as a
special.
class.
It's special
And
for sure.
you can take pride in the freshman 8 and how you did your freshman year and take that on to your rowing as a varsity athlete. And I don't know, it's a special category.
Yeah, I would agree.
In this race, we'll have 6 boats across: Row America Rye, Saratoga, Emma Willard, Warwick Crew, Rhinebeck High School, and St. Anthony's High School. Again, it's been really fun to see all these different programs earn opportunities for future postseason racing, youth nationals hosted by U.S. Rowing and Scholastic Nationals, both great opportunities for even higher stakes racing.
Higher stakes than New
Potentially.
York State champs. Yeah, I mean, look, the
I
line
mean,
of
on paper, New
On
York
paper.
State's is pretty competitive.
just,
I don't know.
of course I meant on paper.
We'll count our chickens after they hatch. See the photo finishes they get there. We had a few here so far. So we're just waiting for this next race to get underway. Fun fact, your two commentators are two Ivy Leaguer alumni from rival schools. Kate went to Yale and I went to Princeton, and the Ivy League championships are happening actually right now. So while we wait, we're just going to refresh our timesheet here. The third Varsity 8s just went, if you're interested. Shout out to one of our Saratoga alumni, Bryn Dittrich. She was a senior here last year and was racing in these races since she was a middle schooler. You know, got to watch her go through all of her state championships and contribute to a variety of different boat classes, including the small boats, the big boats, the pairs, the 8s. She's now rowing for Columbia's 1V. So we'll see if she can bring Columbia up the ranks a little bit here on the collegiate level. You know, we like watching everyone here at the high school level, the state's championship for juniors. We also have got our eyes peeled on what's next for these athletes. So a lot of our athletes here at States will actually move on and row in college as well. There's so many opportunities to continue rowing, not even at the collegiate level. Obviously, there's both the NCAA echelons and the club rowing as well. But the beauty of rowing, Kate, is it's a lifelong sport. You can come back to it at any time. You can row in high school.
It truly is. And there's programs
maybe
for all.
Come back when you retire from your real job. You know, you're 60-something and you want to get back in the sport.
You know, unlike running, which
it's
I
always
think
there.
Has, you know, you can run for a while, but from what I've heard
your
from
knees
people,
can
your knees
only
can give out, right? Rowing
my
is
knees,
one
I can't handle it.
Rowing is one that's a little gentler on the body as
low
you age,
impact,
and it's a great community. You know,
it's
seeing
beautiful
people every day on the river.
You get to be on bodies of water all over the world. You know, find a body of water. Move
I mean, that's
there.
That's what I do if I ever travel. One of the first things I do is look for a rowing club wherever I am, and that's an instant community. It's instant connection wherever you go around the world.
So we're still waiting here at the finish line with you for the girls freshman U16 8, scheduled to go off right about now. So we got a little bit ahead of schedule with all those doubles. They were all so ready and punctual and eager to get going.
And it looks like these crews are coming to the stake boats now. I think most of them
the
are
stake
locked
boats
on.
we're looking at are the low lanes, so lane 0, 1, 2.
Which are not full, so I think
So those should be empty. I agree. I think they're sneakily over there. Yeah, and it's not too late to get your merch. Please visit our vendor tents. If you're here on site watching the Jumbotron, turn around. The gear is there right behind you. And we've got Kaleidoscope with barbecue. If you like what you see and you've already had your Ben & Jerry's, guess what? Kaleidoscope also has ice cream if you want to go to their store.
You could do a little compare.
Little taste test. Could be kind of
See which one
fun.
you like better.
Shout out to
Different
Bruce.
flavor options potentially.
We've also got the jewelry on site. We've got 3D printing happening live.
I mean, what other regatta do you go to that is 3D printing? Answer me
butt
that.
pads and spacers.
Right? I'm still blown away. I gotta go look at this.
We'll go right from here.
Yeah.
Maybe watch the Ivy League Championship on our way on our phones.
We could quickly walk and do that. I gotta see this 3D printing though.
It's cool. Did you get a mug?
No.
The soda mug?
No.
They're beautiful.
Are they the iridescent ones? I've seen a lot of people walking around.
Some of them were more of like the copper colored.
Mm.
Some of them had cool like intricate stamps, like the
Man, I gotta
engraving.
say, even when I was rowing in high school regattas, like, ooh, I'm gonna totally date myself now. 10
That's
plus years
okay.
ago.
That's okay.
It wasn't this fancy. I don't remember having vendors like this. I think in the last 10 years, it's come a long way.
Innovation that excites.
Innovation that excites.
So we're just waiting for this U16 freshman event to get underway. The wind has pretty much prevailed all day. It's been a pretty stiff tailwind, so it's been just disturbing the water a bit against our head current.
Less time in the pain cave, quicker races, but also a little more tricky technically, potentially.
I'd agree.
Hannah, were you rowing at 16?
I started rowing when I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were early adopter, as they say.
My parents signed me up for Learn to Row the summer before my 6th grade year.
Wow.
And I knew no one, and I was a little traumatized socially.
Mm.
But I liked rowing, and I loved the coaches. We're all high school athletes at my town's boathouse, and I thought they were all so cool and had so much fun, and they just got to whip around in launches and like have a blast.
What I want. That's who
and
I
was like, I want to have fun like these guys. Like, so I think it was funny. I got into the sport because I wanted to coach the sport.
Not rows. That's so
not necessarily
that's
row.
So
and then I ended up liking rowing as well. But I just thought the coaches seemed like they were having so much fun. Like to be out on the water and working with each athlete towards a very obvious common goal of rowing together.
It's special.
And I got hit in the back a few times with the oar. You know, we just hopped into an 8.
It happens.
That was ancient. It was like, I don't know,
a bathtub
1980
yeah.
shell. Held up pretty well, but I got hit in the back a few times with the oar. And once that stopped, I had more fun. But the timing, like, especially we'll see here in these 8s, if you're out of time, you can hit someone.
Oh yeah, you can get
with
hurt.
your handle.
I mean, you can get hit in the back with an oar if someone's, coming up to the catch when you're not at the catch with them, right? If you're still kind of around the finish. And if you're not technically skilled enough at the oar, you can catch a crab. I mean, go online and look it up. There's been plenty of videos of what's known as ejector crabs, where you'll catch a crab
good.
so forcefully you'll get thrown out of the boat.
Something's wrong. I wonder if they're switching to the low lanes, or they're getting off the course.
Yeah, so I think there's something happening here at the start.
Maybe they had a false start and we couldn't see it. Or they had breakage. If you have breakage in the, I think it's usually the first 100 meters. So the first 5 buoys or so, you can restart the race. Yeah, it's very possible that's what happened.
It is one of those things, though, that if you get breakage, after that, you're kind of locked in. So making sure all your equipment is set and ready to go and performing properly before you launch is key. Steering's good, riggers are locked on, nothing's going to pop off. All very important.
True. Kate, when did you start rowing?
I went out a couple times when I was in 8th grade, but I didn't actually start rowing until my freshman year in high school, which I think is when most people row, to be honest. There's, definitely middle school programs around, but I would venture to say the majority of people really only have the opportunity starting in high school.
And some people come to the sport in college as well. Like, we obviously have a ton of athletes here vying for high school glory and coming to love and learn the sport as junior athletes. But a lot of times, if you have a friend or a loved one who's never rowed before, walk-on culture in collegiate programs is massive.
Huge. I mean, one of the rowers at our program, at our Orion program, Lauren Miller, she was a walk-on at
the number of Olympians
Minnesota.
that were walk-ons in college is shockingly high.
Yep.
Like, you might think, oh, the best rowers must start when they're infants, like other
No,
sports.
it's not
you know,
like
you
soccer.
haven't-
It's not like soccer or lacrosse or any of those sports where it's like, you know, if you're not
like
playing
that
it by
still
the age
happens.
of 6,
It definitely
you're done.
happens, but yeah, you definitely can
No.
enter it at any time. So we'll try to get that race restarted.
Yeah, it looks like we're doing a restart here. People getting back in their lanes. So let me just take a little bit.
We have this race, the girls freshman U16 grand final, and then the girls varsity straight 4 grand
Straight
final.
four. So that
to
means that
end
the
the
4
day.
does not have a coxswain. It's just the 4 of them, 1 oar each.
Kate, let's talk about the roles in the 8 though.
That's a good one.
'Cause there's a bit of a, I don't know if stereotype is the right word, but there are different strengths and weaknesses of each seat. There are different reasons why a coach might put an athlete in one seat over another. That's more than just port versus starboard, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I almost think of the seats as having different roles, you know, kind of little micro jobs within the boat. So, you know, I think that
Yeah, let's run through 'em.
it's pretty obvious that, you know, stroke seat is kind of your, not necessarily your strongest rower, but definitely someone who has a physicality that you want to lead the boat down the course, or the one who sets rate, who
I
sets
would also
rhythm.
say the race ability too. The stroke
Yep,
seat
the race
is
ability, for sure.
obviously, yes, in charge of the rhythm, but not just for a short period of the race, but for the whole race.
Yeah, I mean, they got to know that when it feels right, when it's time to
Right.
go, right? When it's time to, like, okay, we're moving now.
Right.
And like you mentioned before, having that stroke-cox relationship, you know, having the ability to
Ideally, they work well
kind of
together.
have that language with the coxswain to be like, okay, yeah, no, now's the time. Like,
Right.
we're feeling our positioning, we're feeling the other crews, like, make the move, or make a move within the race. So, yeah, they have to be a racer. They have to be consistent. Yeah, good rhythm that is, you know, traditionally, hopefully, easy to follow. And then
That brings the best out of those other athletes. Oh, here's the 4 race.
Oh, so we're going. Okay.
We'll come back.
We're,
We'll
we're
come
flipping.
back.
We're flipping.
We'll come back. So similar in the 4, that stroke seat is still the leader of the rhythm. 3 seat backing them up, that stern pair. Similar role to the stern pair of an 8. And then we've got the bow pair in the 4. Similar to the bow pair in the 8, they're crucial in trying to help with the set. Obviously, everyone's involved in setting the boat, finding that even keel by controlling their handle heights on both the drive and the recovery, and the timing.
I gotta say, it looks like here like we have another boat that was maybe a late entry to the race. I'm not sure, but we have a 4-boat race here.
You're right, Kate.
And I'm not sure
wish
which
they
lane
would-
they were entered into.
Let's see.
So
Let's look at our time trials. So we had Row America Rye, Buffalo Seminary, Friends of Port, and then the last one we had this
Warwick.
morning from the time trial was Warwick Crew. So if
Okay.
we go off of that, I believe we have Row America Rye currently leading by a couple of lengths.
okay, so they're that far lane there on the top of
followed
your
by
screen.
Port, who's currently sitting 3 seats, their stroke seat sitting on the bow ball of, I believe that's going to be Warwick. And then Buffalo Seminary seeming to have a little bit of trouble there with the steering.
Yeah, not sure if that's
These are straight 4s.
These are straight 4s. So
There's
so
no
they
coxswain.
usually have a tow in a straight 4, as opposed to pressure steering. As pressure steering can be pretty unreliable in a straight 4, as it takes 2 people then to steer it at least.
Right.
So
So
these girls
basically
will be working with a tow. The bow or the stroke will have a tow in the boat, controlling the direction of the rudder.
really strong rhythm here from Row America Rye. Can appreciate the matching of the angles of each oar. The sequencing on the drive super together, so all athletes pushing those hips first by pushing the legs down and then using the hip swing to leverage the power of your torso. Followed by that follow through, super nice.
Yeah, we've got some interesting steering here, it looks like, from what is
It's
that?
it's kind of cool. You can see the
Port?
trails in the water.
Yeah,
to
almost
look
like
at
contrails of a plane, you know.
Yeah. Very fun to watch. There's Port, and here is Warwick, our late addition on our heat sheet. Yeah, and we do have that tailwind pushing us down the course. Thank you, Mother Nature, on Mother's Day, no less.
It looks
But
like
the water's a bit bumpy.
It is. We've got some distance between these crews now. Rye's really taking it out there in front and is just running away with it.
Okay, I wonder if we have a slight crosswind, because most of these crews hugging that left side buoy lane on starboard
that's a good
side.
observation, Hannah. I think that you might be right about that. I'm starting to feel a breeze come our way here in the commentating booth.
And without that Cox in there, falls on the athletes to correct their points while they're sprinting. And while they're doing this all-out effort, you also have to go straight down your lane for logistical purposes.
Oh, yeah. No jumping
A to B.
lanes. I mean, and if you think about it, right, the shortest point from A to B is the
Straight line.
point from A to B, right, the straight line. So any excess steering that you do,
bonus meters.
it is bonus meters for training. Not really sure you want that for race day.
So in the lead, still Row America Rye extending their lead here in the last 250. They're in those red buoys, practicing their sprint. Again, all of these athletes celebrating a hard-fought and well-done season. Moving on to potentially postseason racing at the national level of Scholastic Nationals or Youth Nationals hosted by U.S. Rowing. Or looking towards the summer.
Hey, summer nats.
Can you believe it? We're here.
Lots of races on the Schuylkill down in Philly.
End of the spring. Row America Rye looking super strong in this straight four. Really challenging boat class. A lot of momentum. A lot of finesse required.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the kind of technical points that you got to get right in a four, right? You feel everybody and you all only have one oar. It's a lot of working together. Then add on top of that the fact that one person has a tow, right? So they have to be conscious of their foot, and you have no coxswain giving you kind of unifying direction.
These athletes from Rye up to the challenge, taking that gold medal in the girls' varsity straight four. Congratulations.
Well rowed to them.
Here comes our next boat from port. Really strong racing here, executing that sprint, emptying the tank here with the nice power braids from stern 3. Port will secure that silver medal. Now we've got the two dueling schools here to finish it off. Warwick Crew, club program.
Third.
And Buffalo Seminary. Congratulations to Warwick on that bronze medal. Here comes Buffalo Seminary to finish off our field of straight fours.
Congrats to all crews. Tough boat class, well rowed. And here are our times from the boys varsity double a little while ago. We have that close finish between Oakneck A and B there, with the men's varsity double final, and Oakneck C coming in fourth, with Port Jefferson taking a bronze.
So we had a restart here. They're already underway. The girls' freshman U16-8 grand final. This is the last race of the day, the last race of the 2023 New York State Championships here in Saratoga Springs. Let's go.
Thank you so much for joining me and Hannah on this adventure. We're sad. This will be our last race that we'll be commentating for you.
Yeah, so we've got 6 boats across here. Row America Rye, Saratoga, Emma Willard, Warwick, Rhinebeck High School, and St. Anthony's High School. We have times from this morning just to give us a little bit of a storyline of the potential speeds of these crews that we're looking at. Again, the girls' freshman U16-8. This is the grand final for all the marbles here in this racing category. Row America Rye posted a 5:06. 30 seconds back, Saratoga, 5:36. Then the Emma Willard School at 5:57. Followed very closely behind Warwick Crew, 5:59. So that'll be a fun battle to watch here between Emma Willard and Warwick. Next, we had Rhinebeck High School at 6:30. We'll see if the competitive atmosphere of more friends of side-by-side racing can bring that margin a bit closer here. And then last but not least, we have St. Anthony's High School at 6:49. We don't have any race notes here from the coaches or athletes on their thoughts on that time trial. Could have had a boat-stopping crab. You could have had a full-on mutiny amongst the crew.
Mutiny. It looks like a pirate ship. Just throw the coxswain overboard.
Exactly.
You never know.
And we might have found some exciting new speed that we want to build upon here. So truly anyone's guess as to how this will play out by the finish line. We're just about halfway in, and Row America Rye here with about 2 lengths of open water on the next crew, which I believe is going to be Saratoga Rowing Association, currently sitting 4 seats of open water between, as we guessed it, the battling Emma Willard and Warwick here. We'll see how these crews can respond through the next 750 meters. And just
this
trailing.
girls' freshman U16 race, again, coming back to that theme of learning and growth, this is just a great opportunity for them to race and to feel what it's like going down the course with
and
other
come together
boats.
as a class, right?
Yeah, and to be, and as you said, Hannah, be together as one united class.
Pushing super tough here. All these first years in high school. Again, Row America Rye has that lead. We're seeing Saratoga's Silver Place current positioning. Really beautiful straight arm hang here, allowing those legs in swing to shine. The money makers, our coach Eric Catalano likes to say.
Armpits, that's the money making section. Get that swing.
Eric Catalano, he likes to talk about the stroke as the money and then the whip.
The legs are the money.
And the swing of your hips and finishing the stroke off is the whip.
Money whip.
Like a Dole whip, but different. Here comes Saratoga. Beautiful drone shot here as they come into the last 500. We'll get to see how these athletes execute their sprint. So oftentimes the sprint is challenging, not only because you're fatigued and it's at the end of your race, but you're also trying to make these crazy big moves together. So each 10 strokes, each 5 strokes maybe, depending on the crew, using each one of those moves or lifts to gain more speed, to push the envelope just a little bit more every time. And so as we come into these red buoys here.
Who does that song? Push it to the, which one is that?
Push It to the Limit is a Disney original classic from Jump In with Corbin Bleu and
that's what these girls
Kiki
go,
Palmer.
They're pushing it. The last 500, 250, you are pushing it.
And it looks like a battle has been taking place as Emma Willard and Warwick have been duking it out. Warwick able to push ahead here of Emma Willard. We'll see what tricks Emma Willard has up their sleeves here. Do they have enough room to respond? They're just coming into the red buoys.
And here we have Row America Rye about to come across the line with, again, a commanding lead over the rest of the field here.
Strong freshman class here
looking very
from Rye.
together. Pretty clean, I would say, for a freshman U16 boat. So well done.
Even here, pushing through those hips first, then adding the torso swing. Awesome to see that kind of technical strength in the last 250 from Rye. Here comes Saratoga, securing second place finish. Really strong performance there. Well done. Emma Willard getting a lot of cheers here from shore as they rally back against Warwick. Holy smokes.
And we have
I hear Bob Tarrant screaming so loud. They're going to do it.
What a finish for Emma.
If I could bottle
Emma
the
Willard
emotion
and
here
Warwick.
on shore
Wow.
from Emma Willard teammates and just
Oh my
keep it for
gosh.
myself when I want to feel something.
Hold it in your heart, Hannah.
Oh
Hold it
my
in your heart.
gosh. All right, my heart is a vessel and I'm holding those screams and shouts from teammates so full of love. And here comes the next 2 crews. We've got Rhinebeck High School and St. Anthony's. Looks like St. Anthony's is going to take that next finishing position. Well done to this freshman class and excited to see all of your careers unfold going forward.
Yeah, this is just the start. It's exciting.
Baseline done. First season, spring season done. And
And here we have Rhinebeck High School winding it up, emptying the tank here. Little gusty, handling it like champions. Rhinebeck High School staying nice and together. And just like that, glittering water
at the finish, and
that'll do it.
That ends it. New York State Championships 2023.
Thank you for tuning in or joining us on site at the Jumbotron. It's Hannah and Kate here.
Thanks.
Pleasure to give you this racing here, and thank you for coming. Over and out.
Hope to see you next year.